Okay. Wow. All right. What a fun morning. All right. I think we're live. All right. We are live. Sorry for the delay. A little bit of technical issues. Those are all resolved. It's been a while since I tested. I had to find all the things. Normally, I have all the things ready to go, but today, not all the things. Let's see if I can make sure I keep the chat up so I can see what's happening on the chat side. We gotta figure out all my window captures here, so I need to switch this one on. Let's switch this one to Firefox Mass Testing Google Sheets. Why is that not working correctly? Okay, well let's just turn it off, turn it on. No. There we go. Excellent. Alright, I think we're live. I don't see the chat. I don't see anyone say anything, so maybe I'm not live? But we'll keep going here. Pop this up like that. So we get more space. Check OBS, that's looking good. There we go. All right. Oof. Yeah, I couldn't. It's been a while since I tested. I can't find my connection to the port account to the Ethernet or USB connection. It's basically like a RJ45 connect RJ45 to USB like adapter. So I can't connect the port account. So I'm trying to think what I'm going to do about that. My plan is to use IPCam. So, one moment. I had a cam set up on my phone. Now I have to remember what that was. And I'll just use my phone to link it across. Droid Cam. Yep, let's see now we have that matching program. Let's see, Droid Cam. Yeah, I don't want to use Edge. Alright, let me figure out why Droid Cam's not working. Droid Cam. Why is Droid Cam not working? I have Droid Cam. Yes. Oh, I guess I can do it this way. Okay. Let's just connect to it. 192.168.100.147. Okay, so we got to go like this. All right, that'll work. So we'll do it. We'll do it like this. There we go. Okay. So let's just add that to OBS. Add. One moment. Trying to figure this all out here. One moment. Okay, so I got Droid Cam up, so that's working. Okay. I'm trying to get Droid Cam into OBS. Let's try Droid Cam OBS. Okay, do that. Okay, I don't want to look this up. I don't really want that. Sorry, everybody. I'm just a little bit behind schedule here, but we'll get it all dialed up here. 192, 168, 47, 47, 47. Hey, there we go. Okay. Okay, so you can all see that. That'll work. Not ideal, but we got to do the port account measurement. We'll just do it this way so you can see it. So if I turn on my port account, make sure you can see the display. Getting a lot of light here. All right, Mr. Plant, you're going to have to move. All right, so it's kind of hard. Let's see if I can make it focus. Focus. Yeah, that might be kind of shitty. It's getting too much glare off the device. Let me move it down one row here. Yeah, that'll work. There we go. Now you can read it. 34, 35. Okay. We'll do that. Okay. So we don't need Droid Cam right now. We don't even need the port account yet, so I'm going to exit here. So let's see. Stop. Perfect. Turn off that. Oops. All right. I think I got everything sorted out today. How's everyone doing today? Live streaming is always so much fun. It is not the only bathroom in my house, but it's one of only two. So, otherwise these videos would be really interesting when you have a young kid who needs to go to the bathroom all the time. All right. Let's see what's happening. All right, we gotta go. So we got a lot of masks to this today. We got the entire Moldex line. We got their Airwave N95s, their P95s, N100, N100 Airwaves. Oh, you know what though? Actually, I did forget one, didn't I? Oh no, I got it. Okay, I was gonna say I got a P100 and N100. Just want to check. Yep. So I got an N100. A P100, you can compare about the impact associated with those. Have the older N100, that's the same one that I've been using a long time. They sent me some of those ones, so it'll be good to see how mine's held up over the last year, almost 2 years of use. They make a black Airwave N95, which is interesting. They have the nuisance filtered version, which is super nice. I think that's the best. That's the one I would go with if you like these. I have the, what is this, a P95, I think. Let me take a look. I love that they printed on the bands, on the straps. It's so nice. Yeah, P95. And then their standard, I think it's 4600 N95. So, very breathable. So, we'll test them out today. And they got we got Lloyd Armbrust's new mask that he came out with, the new metal wire. We got a Brazilian N95, a Brazilian Aura to test. You don't see these too often from a friend. So we got the Aura series. So yeah. Someone said, how was the mountain biking? Mountain biking was good. We did some fat biking last night. That was fun. It was out late. Didn't get back to like 11:30, so it's kind of a late night last night. Let's see, Aiden said, I wish the Filter 95 will be back in stock at Costco. I think the Filter 95, I mean, I haven't tested it in a while, so maybe they improved it since I tested it like a year and a half ago. At the time, that nose wire was so weak. I think there's better masks out there right now in terms of breathing resistance in the bifold category. So that's probably what I would go with. We got fired up here. Ruth had asked, is commenting that her daughter religiously wears a mask at school, and some people have made some comments that maybe there's danger associated with it. The answer is no. There's no risks. So I wear a mask. I've worn a mask pretty much since August of 2020, so we're like 2 years plus of me wearing a mask nonstop. I've had no issues. In fact, I've the opposite. I haven't been sick. And my son wears one for the last 2 years, and he has not been sick. You could have some things that happen if you wear a crappy mask. You can have the fibers from the mask can get into your nasal cavity or into your lungs. they're not a danger to yourself. You breathe in fibers all day, every day. It's like the most common particles that are in your home are fiber-based particles from clothing, but it can irritate you. And if you have an allergy to some component of the polypropylene, that could happen. But I'm not familiar with it. So in general, no, you can wear a mask. There's no harm in it. I mean, in fact, it makes things safer, both in terms of COVID or wildfires. So filtering our air is very important. So no risk there. All right, we'll get started here. So right away we got we'll do the background count here. So we have the CPC data up in the corner. You're going to see it spike here in about 1 second. Let me just, I'm just going to go live stream on my own. Okay, there we go. So we got about background count right now is about 1,400 particles per cc. I'll go ahead and so we'll let that stabilize. You'll see that stabilize. I'm going to connect this ULPA filter to it. So the ULPA filter gets connected, and we see that it goes back down to 0. So we're checking that the CPC itself can get to 0. So when I measure 0 counts, it is really 0 counts. It's not an artificial 0. I'll pop that off. Now I do have a 16%, so 50 grams of water with 8 grams of salt. Sodium chloride salt solution gives about a 64 nanometer particle. We'll generate some of those. We're going to let the concentration come up a little ways, and then we'll do our control mass that I have. And I have a Moldex N100 control. I have now two 8210 3M 8210s, and I'll use the Air Queen that I've been using for a long time. That's slowly over time losing some of its effectiveness. It is quite dry here today. Relative humidity is very low in Minnesota right now because of it's like 0 degrees, it's like 5 degrees outside right now. So not a lot of humidity in this house right now. All right. John Wilgren says, check out the Invo mask. I think it's the best N95 mask out there. John, I just did a video on quarter mask elastomerics. I think the Invo is, if it fits, it's a great mask. I think the breathability on all of them are not amazing. If you have not tried a V-Flex, try V-Flex. Once you kind of experience that breathability, V-Flex or the Chanpak or some other high breathability mask, like once you go that route, it's really hard to never go back to anything that's not that breathable. But the Invo mask is good. I just did a review video on that. I'm still using the Draeger mask. That's my favorite mask. I actually do actually myself have the 3M Aura in that. I'm not sure if they're legit. Looks like it does say NIOSH on the mask and the TC number. Most likely. I think most of the fakes are hopefully off the marketplace now because the cost, return on investment of a fake is not as good anymore. That prices have returned. So, yeah. Let's see. Aaron, which mask you suggest for flying? I'm 69 and I have to fly soon. I'm terrified to fly. I live in New York City and I've been wearing masks nonstop since 3/13/20. I wear Good Manner KF94s. So KF94s are great. You know, they're ear loop masks, so you can get a little bit more protection, assuming the mask fits you, by going to an N95. So I would check out I'll do a top mask pick. In fact, that's the only reason I'm doing this mask test is I actually did my top mask picks. Literally 2 days later, a mask showed up and someone said, hey, you got to check this mask out. I tried it on. I was like, holy shit, this is really nice. We'll test it today. And I was like, well, I can't really do my video if I know there's a better mask, so I need to find some time to test. And it took me like 4.5, 5 weeks to get time to test on the Saturday, so here we are. But anyways, Susan, so I would recommend checking out N95. Check out an Aura. You can get V-Flex. You can get them from DigiKey. You can buy a few of them on there. Otherwise, so if you're flying, N95s are great. It'll add a little bit more protection. Otherwise, if you feel really good with your the Good Manner KF95, they're pretty dang protective. It all depends on fit. How well does it fit your face? And N95s on average, because of their headbands design, can provide better seal, but it's not a guarantee. You still need to make sure the mask fits you well. So yes, Rob likes the Draegers. I think we must be talking about the Explorer 1750s. Those are quite nice, very breathable as well. So Draegers and the Chanpak and the V-Flex are all kind of these high breathable vitamins. I'll do a video just about that. All right, YouTube Punk, thanks for, as always, helping moderate. Appreciate that. Someone just volunteering their time, so I want to say a big thank you to that. Okay, everything's checked out. It's time to start our test. Oh boy, I haven't been in this data set in a long time. Let's see if I can remember how to use it. Oh my goodness. Let's see, it started at, yeah, 9/7/20. Now I got to put in 2023. Wow. It still blows my mind that we're still freaking talking about mass in 2023. N100, let's see, Moldex. I'll actually put the model number in now because I have to be a little careful. So I have a Moldex 2730, I believe. Pretty sure it's a 2730. Moldex, why don't you give me the part number? Moldex. My son got Link's Awakening for the Switch, so I have that song stuck in my head. I used to play that all the time when I was a kid on my Game Boy. So yeah, it's a 2730. So Moldex 2730 N100 control. It's an N100 cup style, as worn, white headband. Up, starting concentrate. 2.188 e to the 4, and then don the mask. This tubing's actually getting kind of hard. I'm gonna have to maybe cut the end of it. You'll see donning the mask, concentration plummets. It's what we'd expect to see. So that's good. All right, moving on at 1.7 particles per cc. Go ahead and take off the mask. Let it stabilize here for a second. There's a 5-second concentration and 20-second concentration that are on the upper right of that plot. That's what I use when I watch this. It's stabilized at 2.025 e to the 4. All right, so we ended up with 99.99% with my N100 on my face, my test aerosol. So that's typically what we see with this mask. So that's exciting. The mask works. All right, we'll use our old 3M8210 control. This mask I've had since also the beginning of these testing. It's now a couple years old, so I've introduced a new control from that same lot. Came from the same lot. There's some in the same bag, and we'll just pick that one back. So this is 3M8210 control number 1. It's an N95. It's cup style. It's as worn. It's white. It's headband that are all stretched out. The headbands are very loose now. Concentration is 2.052 e to the 4. Go ahead and don the mask. Oh, they're at 208.4. 208.4. Let that stabilize for a second. Drag this column down. 98.98, so pretty good. We usually see about 99.2, but I can tell you that mask is not very tight to my face anymore. .966 e to the 4. Oops. Oh, 1.966 e to the 4. What the heck? Stop. There you go. There we go. All right, now we'll do number 2. Now this is labeled number 2, so I labeled it on the strap here. And that's just so we can do this all again. So I'm just going to copy this whole row here. Paste that down. Go ahead and make that number 2. Concentration is stabilized at 1.936 e to the 4. Okay, we'll go ahead and... Oh yeah, these straps are... I gotta untangle it here. Sorry, one moment. They're all straps are all twisted up. What is going on here? Must naturally, when they get stretched out, they must... Whew! Much tighter. Oh, they're at 90.01. Got it bottomed out there. So pop the mask off. Bring the last concentration in and we'll be good to go. So yeah, we have lost a little bit of filtration efficiency over time on that mask, and I think that my biggest suspicion is that's the face seal. The straps on that mask are actually tight. The other one, and you can see this, the straps are just so dangly now compared to the new one. They're just not really that stiff anymore. So I'm going to guess that over time it's gotten a little looser, so that's why we'll add a new control in. We have another Moldex 2730 that Moldex had sent, so I'll test that against my N100 that's unknown age. I think it's been in my house for a long time, even before the pandemic. I just happen to have a few of those. 1.754 e to the 4, so I guess that it might have lost a little bit there. So yeah, we're down like a 0.5% on our mold on this over time. So definitely bleeds down. Now this one has not done really great its whole life. This is the Air Queen Nano. It's getting slowly worse. Oops. Try that. So this is the Air Queen Nano Control. It's non-rated. It's a boat style. Or yeah, boat style. I'll stick with that. As worn. It's white. It's ear loop. I'll get it connected up here and I'll get some concentration measurements. Again, this one's been around for a long time. Probably, I think, yeah, from the beginning. So it's over 2 years old. It doesn't get worn very long, but it has been around for a while. Let that stage in bias. We'll answer some questions here in a second once I finish the controls. All right, 1.656 e to the 4. All right, go ahead and don the mask. And as always, you'll see that concentration on that plot fall down. That's measuring from that CPC, the condensation particle counter that's the laptop sitting on top of. And we'll see this one goes down to about 90% typically. Oh, they're at 1732. Let's see. I'll go through the questions. We 10 seconds and I'll answer some questions. Want to make sure this is done. Stabilizing. Come on. 2 more seconds here. .554. Whoops. All right, 89.21. So definitely has been slowly over time dropping. When we first got it, it was in the 90s, and now it's in 89. So these masks over time do start to lose some effectiveness. And again, I would suspect that it's just the ear loops are getting stretched out. I have had to tighten them more and more over the years. It's now a 2.5-year-old mask. So let's see. Quickly in the comments section. Jump through there. Let's see. Love the drink. Time for some new masks. Thank you, Aaron. You're the bee. Thank you, Susan. Let's see. Thanks for having me. I fairly appreciate the brand model. The only mask I can get a good seal with is the Aura. The Aura is probably one of the most frequently. It's like the mask that probably fits the most number of people. I mean, it doesn't fit everyone, but it fits definitely the widest widest group I can do. Can you test the? Oops. Can you test the AirPop Pocket mask? Now they've got. I can take a look at it. I tested some AirPops back in the day. I'm not sure if I might have tested the Pocket mask. If you look at my data set, I've tested a couple of AirPop masks in there. I'm not sure exactly which ones I've tested. Let's see. I have very little faith in Sunjoy KN95 self-suction filter respirators with ear loops. Never heard of them before. There's still a ton of Chinese KN95s. I probably would avoid them unless you know they're legit, like Powcom or some of the other bigger brands out there. So I would recommend avoiding those ones. I have anxiety, so breathability is a concern as I wear N95s more often and for longer. Might switch to the Gerson duckbill for the breathability, but I'm concerned about filtration is not a good. Gerson duckbill is good. In my test, I just had a leak right at the seam because the mask was too small for my face. So what was happening is the seam was opening up and it wouldn't seal. I would have no issue with it, but if you're thinking about duckbills, V-Flex. Start with the V-Flex. It is the most breathable mask I have tested to date. It still is. It's been that way for about a year. They're very inexpensive. You know, you get them from DigiKey for like 80 cents. If you buy it in volume, you can get them on 3M's website. I think it's like $30 for a pack of 50. So like, yeah, definitely would recommend the V-Flex. Try it if you're going duckbills. Otherwise, Kimberly-Clark makes one. Gerson makes one. Get the Gerson that's not the surgical variety. Get the standard industrial Gerson duckbill. It'll be a little bit more breathable as well. Let's see. Pang asked, is the count oscillating around your breath? And the answer is yes. So every time you breathe in, new part, like especially in that Air Queen mask, the concentration is going to go up a little bit from the fresh air intake, and then when I breathe out, my lungs act as filters, so the concentration will come down. Once, I don't know if I still have it in that. There was a compensation column I had once in here. I don't know if I ever left it in there for long term. It might be on the edge. I think I added it in there. One time I did the lung filtering compensation. It doesn't change the values very significantly, except for low performing masks. Those we can have a conversation about it. And works with me at Open Arrow. So just talking to coworkers. Let's see. Anytime you see. Try the V-Flex duckbill here, and I'm between the large and small V-Flex sizes, but I've used them too. We'll try it. Yeah, that's the only problem is like, I hate this. I wish I guess V-Flex made like a small, a medium, and a large, and an extra large. I think the breadth of sizes is really important. We're not seeing that in a lot of masks. 3M kind of just makes one model, the Aura, the 8210, the XYZ, but they only make it in one size, with the exception of actually the Aura and like 8210, which both come in a regular and a small. But I would like to see like a little bit of differentiation. I'd also like to see extra large masks because I think that's actually one of the harder places to get fit is with extra large because people with really big faces, just headbands are too tight. That's been a problem as well. Let's see. Susan Thompson asked, what is the best place to purchase the Aura N95? That's 3M, correct? 3M does make the Aura. You can buy them from Home Depot. You can buy them on Project N95. You can also just go to 3M's direct website, find the product. So just type in, if you want the Aura, it's the 9205 Plus. They'll give you a list of all the online vendors that are authorized resellers, and you can just buy from them. And in case of those, a box, I don't know what the box size is, 240, I think now. 204. Oh, no, I don't know what the box size is. You can buy a box size from them. Otherwise, you can also buy, again, Home Depot is the best place if you just want a few of them. You can buy the 3-pack or the 8-pack or the 10-pack. So that would be my recommendation. Okay, so everything's queued up on the CPC side of stuff, so we can get started. I think for fun, we'll just go through the Moldexes. We'll start at the highest and we'll work our way down. So I'll use a 2730 medium large here. Do you need to kick we'd kick the generator and bring the concentration back up to 20,000 particles per cc. So we'll do 1823. This is the Moldex 2730 in 100. Travis, yeah, good to see you again, Travis. It is almost nostalgic because I feel like I shouldn't still be doing this, but I am. And as you notice, the periodicity of these has slowed down a lot, which is a good sign, right? I think we've worked through most of the mass in the world. There's not a lot left to explore. There's always new like KF94s and KN95s out there, but like I think in general, what I think the data has shown over and over again, you can buy. As long as your KF94 comes out of South Korea, it's good. There's a million different varieties. They're innovating a lot over there. And I think now what the next trend in mask is, everyone's driving to breathability, finally, which is great. So it's just driving down and getting higher, more and more breathable masks. So you're seeing that from, first saw that from Powcom. They updated, they got a little bit breathable. Well before updated all their mask line, which were from like very, very unbreathable to much more breathable. So they did a good job. You're seeing that with who else? A lot of KF94s have come down a lot and improved their breathability. We're seeing that. So I think you're just going to see that across the board. Breathability is going to get better. But so far, nothing's beat the V-Flex. It really is the most breathable one out there. So it's kind of my recommendation. If you want ultra breathable, the best one so far is V-Flex. I don't think we've done any better with it. The Airwave might be close. I bet you the Airwaves are close. But that's where we're at right now. Sarah asks, is the 3M on the 3M site? Should you buy the V-Flex 9105 or the 1850? And the 1850 is a surgical rated one. So the answer is you don't need the surgical rated. And if you're not in a healthcare setting, which you should have your own respirators, fit test, all that stuff for healthcare. If you're just an individual purchasing that N95, then you want the 9105, which is just a particulate, the industrial one. You don't need the liquid barrier protection. That's only for splashes, so it's meant to protect you from high velocity and high pressure blood squirting in your face, so it doesn't go in your mouth. So you don't need that if you're not going to experience that. And since I hope anyone in the general public won't be having blood squirting out their face, the extra barrier, liquid barrier layer, all it does is reduce the breathability slightly. So stick to the 9105 V-Flex. That's my recommendation for COVID or wildfires or pretty much anything that's just particulate only. M corrected me. Yes, the 1870. Sorry, the 1870 is the surgical variety, but you do not need that. Stick with the 9105. All right, this thing is stabilized. We'll kick it in at 2438 e to the 4. 438 e to the 4. All right. Now this is a fresh one. I haven't worn. What's weird is that it smells exactly like the mask, even though that one's like 2 years old. So
has the exact same smell. So maybe that's just the smell of my house, maybe. I don't know. Oh, that's 0.554. So less than 1 particle per cc on that mask. You know, one thing I noticed is that in this over a period of time, let's see if I can get this on camera. Let me jump over and see if we can get it on camera. Might be able to see that on this, there's a little crease here that's formed. This got smashed one time in my house. See that little like crease on the top? And I always wondered if I created a small leak over time with that. I mean, the leak is still tiny, right? It pass a fit test, no problem. But I noticed that this one doesn't have it. It has a nice, clean, smooth nose area. Because it's not 2.5 years old. And it hasn't been living in my basement. I never planned to still be doing this long, so I wasn't always super careful with them. I would just kind of throw them in a pile thinking like, I always think it's like, oh, this will be my last mass test video. Like, there's no way I'm going to be still doing this. All right, so got 100%. It's not 100%, it's 99.999 and some change. So N100s behave as expected. Okay, so that is good to know. I don't want to mix that with my other one. Let's do a P100 next. This is a Valve P100. Now, technically, the TSI recommends not placing the port right there, but since I did it on all my other ones, I'll just keep doing that, even though you're not supposed to do that. So even though I might be doing it wrong, I don't think there's actually risk. I think the concern was around the valve leaking and detecting leakage around the valve, which would give you a poor fit test. But I don't think that's really actually a real issue. That would be my hypothesis as to why they recommend that, but I think that's just them being very risk adverse. So this is a Moldex 4400 Airwave P100 in size medium large. This is a P100 cup shape. It's going to be as worn. We'll say it's white. It's kind of a gray color. All right, let's kick that up. We'll go. It's now 2.11 e to the 5, 2.115 e to the 4. Okay, I'll go ahead and don the mask. Now, the one thing I like about the Airwaves, if we can find the other strap. There's two things I like about the Airwaves. One, the strap's adjustable, so you can really adjust the tension nicely. They have a little adjuster on the strap. I'll show you when I take it off. They don't have that featured on the older versions. I can tell you right now, the breathability of this P100 is way better than the unpleated N100, just the standard. So the big thing is that they add pleats to add more filter area. You can see the standard, I can't tell on my camera here, let me jump over here. You can't tell, but like the same roughly shape, but this has all these pleats, which probably doubles the surface area almost. It makes it way more breathable. So that's what the Airwave is all about. It's all about breathability, because Moldex knew that as well. They've been making them for a long time. So I'm going to be quiet so I can get this last test here, and we'll see what that comes in at. I have a face leak somewhere here. Let me tighten this up a little bit more. There we go. So how do I get more tension there? Oh, there, 55.58. So I have a little leak on there somewhere. I think it's leaking right here on my nose. It's really hard to tell. That's interesting. Well, data is the data. I mean, 99.74. I think technically the media rating on these would be 99.97. So don't think it's that. I do need to make sure that my puncture didn't like create a problem, but I don't think that's the issue either. I think that I have a little face leak on that. Let it stabilize. I would still very much pass a fit test on this, but it highlights to me this kind of discussion that we've had a lot about, is that improving filtration efficiency without improving fit at the same time doesn't do as much for you. So, you know, that last 0.25%, even though the mask would have filtered at a much higher rate, face leakage was dominating. So that's why I really think for COVID, an N95 is really the highest that you need. I don't think there's really much to be gained, unless you have a good fit test method. There's not much to be gained by going to a higher filtration efficiency. So that's interesting. So that's probably a face leak issue. I'll leave it here. We'll do the port account and see what the port account looks like sometime. All right, move down to the next one. Let's see what this one is. This is a valved, I think this is an R95. One moment, please, or a P95. Here we go. Oh, no, this is the valve at NIOSH N100. So this will be interesting. Let's see what, should be the same. They both have, so one of the things I guess I didn't talk about is if we compare the 2730 Moldex, the one that I've been using for a long time, versus this one, the N100 here, let me just jump over to my video. See, so this has this like hard, this one has this like hard plastic, like almost like, it's foam, but it's not very soft. And these ones feature this really soft foam. You can just, maybe you can catch in the video just how soft it is. It's just like super soft and conformable. That is really nice. This, it's not that comfortable. This foam like on my nose is just like hard. This is super, it's like soft. It's much more comfortable. So we'll do the Moldex N100 Airwave. Let's see, what's the number on this one? A 4700. N100, size medium large. It's N100 rate. It's cup. It's as worn. It's white. It's headband. What I'm really interested in is what the pressure difference is in terms of breathability between an N100 and a P100. I was kind of curious. I think it'll be interesting to see what that data looks like. Now I used to do that at my kitchen table, so I don't have to wait till after the video. And I've always done that just because I didn't think anyone really cared about that data. Like the consistency of breathability data was not critical. I would think people wouldn't trust filtration data, but who cares about the pressure drop data? You know, it's not as critical. But so that's why. Yeah, it doesn't really fit right here for me, I think, as much as the other mask does. Probably at 2.578. So that's interesting. But these should be identical. It'd be interesting to come back and visit this again. So these two masks should be identical in terms of their cup size and shape and design. Yet I got slightly less performance with the P100, so I'm not sure why that is. Maybe my little port is leaking. I don't think it is, but it's interesting. I put them in the ports in the same location too, so I don't think that would be a player. So maybe we'll retest it here. Or maybe my test. No, I wouldn't think the test aerosol would have a big thing. The P100 should actually be better. We'll let it stabilize here for a second. 1.624 Yeah, 99.99. So interesting. I'll leave it there. We'll come back. We'll come back to that later. Let's just move on to the next mask. All right, now we can move to the P95. Kind of a rarer mask. Mold-X. What's the part number on the P95? Yes. 4300. P95. So this would be used if you need an N95 protection against oily particles. I'm not sure exactly why you would use that, but I'm not. I guess maybe there's some application for it. I guess I'm not sure exactly what it is though. All right, go ahead and Don. We'll get it connected here. Get the count going. Now I did notice that the N100 airwave is more breathable than the P100. So that's there. So we'll wait a second here. I'll finish this one up and then we'll answer. Oh my goodness, so much comments in here. Such comments. Let's see. Give me 1 second. We'll answer questions of Jay Gardner. 1.404 U4. All right. Here we go. Toss that on. Pull that up and over. Call it there at 1.78. So 99.99 on the P95. Now, P95, not surprising there. You expect to see really high performance on this because filtering oily aerosols is actually more difficult than non-oily aerosols that the N95 is designed around. The N95 NIOSH test uses a sodium chloride test solution, and for the P series, and I guess for surely the P series, I'm actually not sure what the R series uses, but the P series uses a DOP aerosol, which is an oily aerosol, and what we find is that particles that are non-polar, so they don't form a charge on them very easily, those particles are harder to filter by electrostatic media, and so because it's harder to form a mirror charge, electrostatic media doesn't perform as well. So what we find is that to make a P100 filter at really high rates, is that you need to use really good media. And so they end up using a lot more media. That's why they're harder to breathe in. And their sodium chloride performance is going to be much higher because the metric that they're actually having to use is DOP, and DOP is harder to filter. So in other words, if you got like 95% with DOP, you might get 99.5 or 99+% with sodium chloride. So sodium chloride is an easier one to filter. Okay, so I'm guessing that P100 mask I have a leak on there somewhere on that face seal, so we'll have to revisit that one. Okay, next up is the nuisance variety in 95. I actually think that if you're going to wear one of these ones, this is probably my recommendation. I think this is the best Moldex. And the reason being is it has all the things I like. And then actually we'll answer some questions because I got to turn on the generator anyway. So let's get this loaded up here 1 second. I'll get it connected and I'll flip on the generator. So this is the Moldex 20 M4620 and 95. It's also medium large. It's N95. Oops. Let's make my data nice and clean. It's cup style. It's as worn. It's black. It's headband. And we'll turn the generator on while we're clicking. And what's nice about this mask is it's got the N95 media in it, but it has that soft foam seal. So if you're going to go cup mask style with Moldex, we'll compare that to the other Airwaves that I have coming up here, but it's definitely the more comfortable, I think, of the bunch. So if that's the way you're going to go. I'm going to kick the generator on and we'll answer some questions. Let's see, where did we pick off with? Jay Gardner asked, you haven't tested the Seibu Memories mask, have you? Those are super breathable, almost to the level that it seems like it might not work as well. I have not tested the Seibu Memory mask. I have tested all the rest of the Seibus. And the good news is, we'll test one of the Seibu Memories today. So I have one of those sitting in my pile over there. So we'll get tested today and see how it stacks up, but they're really good. Is the Bluna FaceFit mask still a solid pick? Yep, I think so. Yeah, I think the Bluna FaceFit's still a good option if it fits you well. It's an ear loop mask. I find that the breathability of it's pretty solid, but I'm seeing better breathable masks. I think by the end of today, I'm going to recommend a domestic source, at least North America source, for, I think, the boat-style masks. I think it's the best that I've found yet, and that's why I wanted to recommend it for my top mask picks video, because I got it, and I really like it. I'm not sure. Seibu's pretty up there, too, so we'll see how it stacks up today's test. But if it performs as good as I think it will perform, it's going to be one of my top picks. I think it might even be better than I don't know. We'll have a conversation about it. Yep, Collect USA also still carries the Blunas, but they have changed a little bit. There's a new Bluna and an old Bluna. They've kind of updated it, as it happens with these masks in Korea. They've kind of been updating them. Not always for the better, in my opinion. That also happened with LG. The LG Air Washer won't have a feature as stiff of a nose wire anymore, so that's kind of a bummer. So that's kind of what also influenced my mask pick video. So that's no longer the same mask, so I had to reshoot it. But to reshoot it, I needed to test more masks, which is how we're here today. Eventually, I'll promise you I'll get that gosh dang video out. Trying to beat out the XBB. That's my race. The race of XBB. It seems to be winning right now, but I'll try my best. I do have to. So Kevin asked. So it's first time watching. How do you test these? So I do. I have a little metal port punched into these. These are off. The port comes from TSI. I'm just going to pull up my OBS Studio so I can see the camera myself. So you can see there's like this metal port here. It gets punched through the mask with a special piece of equipment. and then it's like sealed to the mask, and that allows me to sample the particles inside the mask. And the calculation that I'm doing is how many particles are on the outside of the mask and how many particles are on the inside of the mask, and the difference between those two is telling us what our filtration efficiency is. So we'll kick the generator off and let it stabilize. If anyone knows who sells single masks, please tell me. So a lot of people sell single masks, Sappy. Kind of depends on what you're after. In the space of N95s, DigiKey sells them individuals for the V-Flex, which I'm a big fan of. Auras, you probably can't get them individually from the Auras, but you can get 3-pack at Home Depot, which is pretty small test condition. Otherwise, a lot of other brands. Savewu through Family Masks sells a sample pack of one of every size. And some other masks we'll talk about the BreatheTech. BreatheTech does the same thing. They sell a sample pack. So that's pretty relevant today. Let's see. Donna's taken off. Thanks for hanging around, Donna. Let's see. Mask sampler. Yep, Armbrust also has one. They do a bunch of different N95s and stuff. I think it's a good business model. YouTube bug X. Since you have contacted 3M, ask if they'll release a black edition of the V-Flex, the Vader Flex. I do like that content. I know that 3M probably very much wants to. They have to requalify the mask. If they change any materials, they have to ask for a new NIOSH certification. I think my hypothesis, I've not ever heard this from 3M, so it's just my hypothesis. I think 3M's goal is because they're trying to maximize revenue. They have to make a lot of money because they're a corporation. And they like to maximize that. I suspect that having a lot more part numbers that they have to carry because they already carry them, and they do support parts for a long time. The 8210 has been around forever. So they have kind of like a longer term view of masking in terms of like industrial stuff where they want to make a mask and they're going to make that mask for 20 years. So I suspect that they're hesitant to add a much more part numbers to their inventory that they have to manage. So that would be my suspicion. Let's see, I get a ton of emails from that company. Let's see, Savewu has some kid adult masks for small faces and made with Trier. Yep. Does 3M make any KN95s? 3M does make KN95s. You can buy in fact, they were carried, I'm blanking on the number now. They had they make masks and sell masks in China. Early in the pandemic, the bifolds that you could get for super cheap, and I have them in my data set, were 3M official KN95s, and they also had NIOSH N95s. I don't know if it ever made it into the full video that I met with when I met with Nikki McCullough from 3M. Some of it got cut because it was just too long. And maybe it's in there. Is that one of the things that 3M does, even in the foreign markets, is test them to be NIOSH N95 because there's a bonus to having a NIOSH N95 stamp on your mask, even if it's not for a market in the US like in China. So that's a common thing. So lots of KN95s and N95s that get made in China. Okay, let's see. Terry said 3M9502. I think that's Terry was looking to maybe purchase the. Oh yeah, 3M95. I'm not sure what that was referencing. All right, go back into it. So answer all the questions and jump back in. So we're at 2.822 e to the 4. 2.822 e to the 4. All right, we'll go ahead and don the mask. No. Oh, son of a gun. No, actually, I think I have tested this mask once before. I got sent to this mask from, I'm not sure who sent it. Judah sent it to me. Judah sent me a mask. And I tested it in the past. But we'll just test another one since I have the whole lineup here today. I'm having a hard time getting this one adjusted in my head. There we go. getting a leak right on my nose. Feel it, but I can't make it go away. And this is my problem with Moldex, no nose wire. Either it fits or it doesn't fit. It did tear. Oh, did I tear that little thing there? Maybe. Huh. All right, stabilizer at 505. Yeah, I'm getting a little leak on that somewhere, on the nose area. It must just be some variation in these molds when they make them, that I get a little leak. Now, there's no nose wire. I'll show you maybe why I think what's happening here. Oh yeah, maybe that is what's going on there. That makes sense. There's no nose wire on these masks, so if you feel like a little leak here, all I can do is tighten the head straps and try to pull it tighter, which is kind of my complaint with Moldex. That there's no metal or nose wire feature inside of it, which is, I mean, maybe there's a reason that they did that. I'm sure it's a manufacturing issue with how they do this design, but I'll show you on this mask why I think it was leaking on my nose, and I'll add it to my stack of checking out on the port account. We'll just do that by video, by the way, because I don't have a communication cable with me today. I thought I had one, but I must have left it at the office. 2.499 E to 4. Let's check over here. 2.499 E to the 4. Yeah, so 98.1. That's kind of low. So let me show you what I think's going on here. I don't know if I can catch it in camera. Oop, I dropped my sampling tube. Just one moment. I'll show you what I see here, and I think it's what the cause of this is. So it might be hard to tell on camera, but if you look, notice that the foam here, this cutout for the foam, the middle of the mask is here, but like the foam is offset for the nose. I don't know if that's coming into the camera quite that clear, but like the foam is offset from the center of the mask. I hope everyone can see that's offset this way. It's this way on the mask. It's like not in the center. And so I'm getting like a leak. And so what's happening is like I can feel that it doesn't like sit on my nose square. So I'm not sure why that happened. Maybe manufacturing a little bit more variability. I might be on the limit. So I'll add to my stack of that. We'll move on. Super breathable mask, by the way. Okay, one thing that Moldex does do that I like is that they do make a black version. Now I'm going to actually compare, since we have this right in front of us, I'm going to compare the TC number for this mask. These are both the same airwaves. This one's just in black. So let's take and compare the Moldex number and see if they get a different number on it. And the answer is they do. Huh. Or not. No, maybe 3M lied to me. I don't know. That's what they claimed. Or that they had to recertify them. Maybe they just have to do. So anyways, the TC number for this mask, for the 4600 black or white, is TC84A 5636. And both of them, you're not going to be able to probably see that in the video. You'll have to trust me, both have the same part number. So that's interesting. These are both the same mask, just available in black. So let's start with the black. Very breathable, though. Definitely, if you're going to wear a cup mask, well, airwaves, if they fit. Again, if they fit. It's kind of my complaint, my issue with the Moldex masks. Nothing to adjust on them. Moldex. Sorry, these are 4600, but I was going to see if there's a M. I wonder if that's a military. M stands for military, I'm guessing. That would make sense why they want a black one for your Night Ops N95. I don't know. I wonder if the M is for military. This is N95. It's cup style. It's as worn. It's black. Headband. Upstream concentration is stabilized to 2.261 e to the 4. All right, let's go ahead and don the mask. Yeah, I'm definitely leaking on this one. I can't quite get a good seal. Called out 582. All right, so it's a 97.43. So only slightly worse than the other one. I'm not quite sure what I'm getting at. I'm going to have to put these on the Portico. We'll have to see what we get on the Portico. Let that one stabilize. Oh yeah, the 9502 Plus was the 9502 Plus was the Chinese KN95 bifold. Bifold's kind of not really, in my opinion, a great mask format. Cheap to make, but fit-wise, I think they perform very poorly relative to a lot of options that are out there. Not a big fan of them. Not a fan personally of the bifolds. If they work for you, great. I just think they don't fit a ton of faces as much. 2.054 e to the 4. Yeah, the Moldex is not doing hot in my test. Now, remember, my test does require that I have a good face seal, so it just might be that I can't get a good face seal on this particular style of mask. So we'll put them on the port account to check. We'll come back and test those on the port account. All right, last Moldex. Then we get to move on to our Brazilian N95. It's a 3M Aura series coming out of Brazil. I don't know what their standard is. Actually, it's a 9320 plus BR, so I'm not sure what their standard is. If they use like a FFP2 standard, this is a PFF2S for particles, but not, it says nuevas y fumos, so I'm guessing no fumes, so it's particulate only. All right, let's do the Moldex. Let's just copy and paste that. Let's be smart about this. This is the Moldex 4600 N95 in a medium and large. It's an N95. It's cup style. It's as worn. It's white. It's headband. All right, let's get the count. Front and long. 1.94. right, let's don this bad boy. Actually, before I get started, I'm going to have to center the straps up so I'm not trying to adjust the straps in the middle of while I'm wearing it at the same time. There we go. Very breathable mask, though. I mean, like, if you're going to wear a cup mask, make it an Airwave, I think. So far, of all the cups I've tested, if it fits, it's a good mask. I mean, it's just super breathable. But I hate cups because they're just not that comfortable to talk in. If I'm just doing work on a construction site or something, a cup mask make total sense. All right, 154. Yeah. So their media that's a media rating. So I just had a leak on that other version. So we'll put them on the port account. We'll revisit that later. They are the same. So they have the same foam and everything. I just don't know why. Sure, it's just manufacturing variation, or maybe my punch. Maybe I'll tighten my punches up. Maybe they're leaking them. I wouldn't think so though. Oh shit. I bet you that's my problem right there. Oh no. Thought maybe I punched a hole in it. It's just a piece of plastic though. It's always this risk when I punch it that if I accidentally punch a hole in the material and don't get the port set on it right, I can screw it up. All right, what this concentration table? I think they are 1.732 e to the 4. So yeah, 99.16. That's pretty damn good. So I'm gonna guess that's all Moldexes. I think my issue is the fit test, so I'll put that in. We'll revisit that when we turn the port account on. All right, let me check the comments real quick, make sure everything's got answered there. Nothing too favorable. Let's see, Elizabeth Menken says, thank you to you, Aaron. Champak is the family favorite now. Yeah, no, the Champaks are great, super breathable. If you like a bifold, like I was saying, if you're gonna go bifold, I think the Champak's the great way. And here's the trick with the Champak. It can be an ear loop. Because the Champak just has adjustments around the neck with the little things, you can convert it easily to an ear loop mask. So I think the Champak, it's one of my masks, my top picks. If you're gonna go bifold, I think the Champak is a great option because it just it fits. And it has a good nose wire. It's got a lot of the features that I like in a mask. So this is a 3M 9320 20 plus BR. I'm guessing that stands for Brazil. This is a PFF2S rated mask. PFF2 space S. It's a boat shape. It's going to be as worn. It's white. And it has the elastic headbands. Or not the elastic, I'm sorry, the fabric headbands, which are like the 9210, which I think is what makes the 9210 a good mask. All right, we'll let this stabilize here. All right, 1.517 e to the 4. Okay, go ahead and don the mask. Looks just like a standard 3M Aura series. So, nothing unique about it. Smells like a 3M. I will say that the fabric masks just aren't as, the fabric straps are not as tight as the polyisoprene ones. The rubber straps, the polyisoprene. feel like I'm getting a little something right there. There we go. Oh, they're 89.69. So 89.41. Pretty damn good for the Brazilian mask. Never wore one of those before, but there we go. I think I've tested masks from like every country in the world, it feels like now. Oops, sorry. My chair is slipping here. Big shout out to George for bringing that one over from Brazil. Yeah, these white fabric straps I think are better for long-term wear. They definitely are more comfortable on the hair too. They like, even for me, my wife. That's one of the things when my wife wears the Aura 9205 is that the polyisoprene straps drag on her hair when she's trying to wear it. And she has long hair, and so it's very difficult for her to like quickly don and doff it because of that. 1.442 to the Forbes, 99.39 for the Brazilian in 95. All right, next up, let's do some elastomeric masks. I got some quarter or half mask elastomerics here. We got the, and they were just sent to me. I'm not a big fan of the elastomerics, especially one like this. I feel like they're too clunky. So we're gonna test the Air, Precision Air. This is a Canadian company, I believe. This is the Precision Air full face elastomeric. It definitely costs. I mean, look. Don't get me wrong, these very much have a place in the world. White balance adjust, white balance adjust. These have a place in the world. If you're in a healthcare situation and you don't have enough N95s, these are way more reusable. You can just replace the filter elements. You don't need to replace all the rest of it. Minimize the use of electrostatic media to make an entire mask. Like in a shortage of masks, elastomeric should be prepped. Hospitals should use these as their emergency pandemic performance. They should not rely on disposable N95s. Pandemic preparedness in the future should mean that there's a stock of these sitting there because these make more and more sense. But they have some trade-offs, which we'll do. Okay, so we'll do the Precision Air. Is this actually an N95 rated? What is this thing? What is it rating? And now that I look at it, I'm not sure. I might have to look on the website. It might be just, I don't know what the rating is on this. Patent pending. I'm not sure what the patent is. Patents. Ugh. Don't get me started with patents today. I don't want to talk about any more about patents in the next year of my life. All right, so this is the Precision Air quarter mask. Rating, I gotta find out what it is. It's a half mask. Did I just say quarter mask? What's wrong with my brain today? It's not a quarter mask, it's a half mask. It's a half mask. It's going to be as worn. And you're probably not going to get to hear me because, in general, my issue with elastomeric masks, all elastomeric masks significantly reduce the audibility of your voice, and that's to me a big problem. Connect up the tube. This will be one, then we'll have to charge back up in a second here. Stabilize. Oh yeah, we need to charge it. We'll do this one and then we'll charge it and do the next one. 1.044 e to the 4. All right, now I got to put this thing on. Actually, dang it. 1.4. Oh. Actually, let's just charge because this is gonna take. Let me do some test fits on this thing because I gotta like adjust all the straps. I haven't. I got 2 of them. And this is the other one, so I gotta like do this. Ugh. Complicated. There we go. Nice. I mean, it's good design. It actually has a nice design. I like what they're. I see where they're going with it, and I like what they're doing. It's got a lot of adjustment, so you can get a real comfortable fit for your head. I wish they wouldn't pre-pull down all the straps, but I see where they're going with it. I like it. It's got a lot of adjustment. You're gonna hear that. Hit the microphone. It's got a necklace-style clip for the rear, a halo for the head. Yeah, it's pretty good. Now, you'll notice right away that you can probably barely hear me. I can't even tell. I mean, I don't know. Can you all hear me? I feel like I'm talking into a tin can. So, this is my problem with elastomerics. The breathability on this one is not great. Ooh. Yeah, the breathability on this mask is not really that great. I'm worried that the volume of the mask. Yeah. All right. Let me pop this off. But yeah, the breathability on this mask is really not great. Ooh. Okay. The issue is that on this mask, there's no pleating. These filters that are on here are just flat filters. I'll show at the end. I'll take them off. But they're using a flat filter material. So I mean, you know, it's like the same issue with the flow mask or the Invo mask. Like there's just so much filter. There's just so much filter with a flat mask, pleated mask, and it's typically not that high. So, if there's one thing I could make a recommendation to Precision is going to be using a pleated filter cartridge in this space instead of a flat filter. They would make a ton more filterable area, and it would be a lot more comfortable for the wearers. Because right now the breathability on this mask is quite poor. So, you know, it's injection molded plastic with a silicone seal, 2-part mold, 3-part mold. See the parting lines for the other portion of the mold. Interesting. All right, well, let the concentration stabilize and we'll hook it up. I'm assuming I'm still streaming. All right, let the concentration stabilize here for a second. Jump back into it. All right, 3.334 e to the 4. Let's hook up and go. 3.334. All right, 3.334 e to the 4. 3.334 e to the 4. Go ahead and hook it up. Necklace style around the back. Halo style for the head. All right, call 172. 172 for that one. Oh, you can probably barely hear me in that mask. I felt like I was having a scream to be heard. There we go. See what the concentration comes in at. Hope everyone's having a good Sunday. Next up is the Elastomask. I'm excited for this one. So far, this is the most breathable elastomeric I think I've tested to date. So I think that I like that. Not sure about the build construction though. There's some design features I don't like about this mask, but it's very cheap, so that's good. All right. Hope you all enjoying it. Not a lot happening here with this concentration stabilize. Jump over. There we go. It's good. It is came in at 2.49 either 4. So 99.41. So that's really good. The breathability is kind of a little poor on that mask. Now the other side of the spectrum is what I think is the real solution. Now you'll not be able to maybe see this on camera, but I'll try my best to get it on there. So this is the Elastomask Pro. They sent one to me, so to check out. Now on the inside, hopefully you can see this enhanced. They use pleated N95 media, 2 cartridges of that. Breathability, I agree, is probably one of the best N95 elastomerics that I've used. And I think this is what exactly should have been designed for healthcare workers. The audibility issue is still there, but again, when we're talking about pandemic preparedness, when we need to ramp quickly, this kind of design is exactly what we need to think about, right? And ideally, P100 cartridges in there. So P100 is pleated, has a ton of filter media. Why P100? Because they can basically, well, I guess you can probably get away with an N95 the same way. So I take that back. Elastomask Pro. Okay, one moment. I gotta check. Is this rated? It's on the cartridges. Are they NIOSH approved? Let's see if it says on the box. They are NIOSH approved. N95. What the heck is going on? Oh, the mask is pressing on the keyboard. Okay, I was like, what is going on here? Gotta get it off my mouth. It weighs just enough. I do enough with the disposables. They're so light that I can set them on the keyboard. They don't do anything. So this is a half mask. It's gonna be as worn. It's a blue. It's a headband, and the upstream concentration is all over the place. Let's get it stabilized there. All right, 1.628 even the 4. Okay. Now this has no adjustment. So this is my complaint with this mask is the straps have no adjustment. They are what they are. So it almost is like a hybrid between a disposable and a reusable elastomeric. So I'd like to see a strap design that's a little bit more robust, but the breathability is off the charts. Yeah, it's very, very breathable. So, very impressive. Again, the audio issue, I don't know. That's the problem with half masks. Call it there at, get a little bit jump, 1019. That's kind of the average there. Pop that off, set it onto the desk keyboard there. Okay, it's kind of heavy and it's slowly falling down my keyboard. Let's try stay put mask.
1.72 e to the 4. 1.72 e to the 4. All right, so yeah, 99.4, super breathable on that. Dig it, dig it. I don't know, they're pretty expensive, but it's also nice too because like it folds up, you can squish it in half. Like, you know, it's a good design. I mean, it's clearly designed for a low cost, which I think is in the future for the pandemic. Like, that's exactly what we should target. I wonder if the note, I don't know if they did that there. Just looking a little bit more at it. So, nice design. I like it. Very breathable. Probably the most breathable Elastomeric I've tested, and it's not very expensive. So, very nice. All right, let's move on to our continuation of breathable masks. We'll do the one that I've been wanting to test, which is the BreatheTech. Now, BreatheTech is a Canadian company that's now selling in the U.S. under the brand BreatheTech. I believe that they are related to Canada Mask, but judging by the design and shape of the mask, I think they're must be using Canada Mask. Oh yeah, manufactured by Canada Mask Corporation. Okay, so that makes sense. So BreatheTech is the U.S. brand of Canada Mask. But the thing that is so nice about this mask is they really like just knock they knock the it's a great mask. It's probably one of the best ones you could buy, and it's made in North America, like in terms of ear loop, and I'll explain why. So this is the Breathe. Do they have an E at the end of the E? Yeah, so they do spell it right. BreatheTech. It's the BreatheTech KN95. So large. KN95 rated. It's boat shaped. It's as worn. It's black. It's ear loop. And the concentration, I'll let it stabilize here for a second. Actually, one of the issues with that Elastomeric mask is we'll have to watch our static charge issues. I'm not using conductive tube because that hasn't been a problem in the past, but it could be an issue if I use those masks. Something to think about in the future. So why the BreatheTech is the best mask? Is they have a aluminum nose wire that is just the right gauge and just the right stiffness to get a good seal without being excessively hard to seal. Like, it is like the money spot. If you are a mask manufacturer, go buy a BreatheTech, figure out what size nose wire they're using, and copy that. It's really money. They're also using a wider kind of noodle style, flat noodle style ear loop, so that's really nice. And the breathability is really top notch too. So I'm really excited to try this one out. So let's get it started at 1.744 e to the 4, but super breathable. It's as breathable as the Savewu. Sure, I get a good seal on my nose, but like that nose wire is freaking money. All right, call there at 122. It's bumping around 122. All right, 99.3. That's probably the best ear loop mask out there for sale right now, and I'll make the case why. So BreatheTech, why it's the best. Well, between them and Savewu is the best. That mask, you can't tell it because I'm on a video, but it's super breathable. As breathable as those Airwaves that I was wearing, but in boat shape. They got a money nose wire. The ear loop, I would like to see a Savewu style ear loop on their Ultra, but if you're comparing this to like the other colored mask that Savewu makes, arguably it's maybe a little bit better. The only difference is like I noticed that this mask is a little bit warmer than the Savewu,
But in terms of nose wire, it is like off the charts. If you've had a bad time healing, I mean, I know that I think I'm blanking on what his name is, Gerald Hughes. He's been doing some port account testing on these. He has a very tall nose wire, so he has trouble fitting with basically like any mask out there. Actually had a pretty good fit for this, given that he's had so much trouble with KF94s in the past, that style, boat style. But if you're doing ear loop, boat style, and the other thing is that this comes in a small, medium, and large, multiple colors, like Canada mask, you're making good masks. Good for you. I really like them. 1.708. It's exactly what the marketplace needs to go to. So I'm excited to see that. 99.29, ultra breathable. You know, like Aura, update your media so that they're a little bit more breathable. You know, this is just crazy. All right, really, really well-made mask. That nose wire on this is just bonkers. All right, we're going to test the extras, the small that they gave us small as well, or extra small, so I can add it to my kids list. So we'll do this extra small. I want to, you know, I always like to have on my kids list. I don't want to just take the adult mask, so let's just double check it. So it's this. Oops. It's a Breathe Tech, but this is not going to be a large. It's an extra small. They also use the same aluminum nose wire in it, which is like just the right. I mean, they just nailed it with the nose wire. KN95 rated. It's boat shaped. It's going to be as worn. It's gray, and it's ear loop. All right, so that's a nice mask. All right, so let's stabilize here for a second. I think we're almost there. All right, 1.634 E to the 4. Don the little kitty mask. Won't be able to talk at this one because I can't even move my jaw. So we'll just wear it and get the test done with. Jumping around a little, call it 120.3. Back off, so pretty much the exact same value, 99.26. So that's kind of funny. Yeah, that's the best mask out there. Damn, that's a good mask. I like it. All right, next up we'll do the Seiwu Memories mask. This is their. Now the only thing I can say that why I slightly like the Seiwu is that it feels cooler inside than the Breathe Techs in the summer. I'm not sure exactly what it is about them that makes them that way, but I do notice that, and I think it has to do with water vapor permeability. The Breathe Tech uses a thicker inner layer. Maybe it's an insulative issue, or maybe it's that, but I can't imagine insulation is a big issue with this, like heat conduction. 1.574 E to the 4. Yeah, so damn good mask. Seiwu Memories. I don't know if they have a size on these. I think they're all one size. No, they do. It's R2M2. I don't know what the R2 is. R2. It's, what are these? What do you claim them to be these days? I know on the men's masks they're FFP2 because they have the labeling on them. I'm gonna say it's a. What is it? What are you guys claiming these days on the memories? I'll say FFP2 because that's what I'll say FFP2 / KN95. I think that's what they've been doing. But technically, they would not meet the FFP2 label. I noticed on the men's mask that all the men's masks now have the printing on it. So let's just we'll just leave it there. So it's a boat shape. It's as worn. It's gray. It's ear loop. I'm gonna connect it here. Breedtech, great job. It means Canada masks. I wonder if Canada masks are this breathable now too. I hope so. Yeah, my complaint with the Seiwu now is just that the nose wire on the nose wire length and everything on that mask is freaking money. They nailed it. We still got a few more masks to go. We got let's see, we got the Canada mask, in the ear loop Canada masks in adult and kid, Palcom, Armbrust, and some Seiwu printed masks from their Disney themed stuff. I never tested the printed Seiwus, so we'll test them out. I'm sure they're just good, but it'll be fun to test. 1.424 e to the 4. Good. Don the mask. Might have to snug up the ear loops on this one, but yeah, these ear loops are a little too soft for me. Let me just tighten those up a little bit. You know, they're using just a round ear loop on this one. I would like to see the noodle ear loops. I think those are way more comfortable. The only thing I think that Seiwu has going for it is they're quite a bit cheaper than the Breedtech, because the Breedtechs are like, I think, $1.50 a mask, something like that. Yeah, the nose wire on the Breedtech is just, it's kind of bonkers how good that is. I wish this had it. I just can't quite get a good nose seal on this one. I'll call it at 208. 208. So 98.54. So I would say that the Breedtech is even also a little bit better on the filtration efficiency, because Seiwus usually come in like 98.5, not just a little under that. So it's, yeah. Let's see, got a couple questions here I'll get to in just a second. See, so YouTube Punk said, had to return my GATA silicone hybrid mask. The mechanism for securing the filter wasn't at all that good. Yeah, I've heard that from the GATA, so I really haven't tested it. I really don't. I think there's not. I mean, disposable to me is just such a great dollar, and yeah, I've yet to find a reusable that's really, I found to be really an amazing one or something like that. Here we go. We got 1.344 e to the 4. 1.344 e to the 4. Yeah, so 98.5%. So that's pretty dang good. Very, very breathable. I like the color of this. So Seiwus, I think, make a damn good mask too. I think their Ultras are better, though. I think their Ultras better than these ear loop versions. The other thing I like about Seiwu, so actually I forgot to mention this. So the thing I like about why Seiwu and Breedtech will be my top picks, they offer extra small, small, medium, and large. Great. I would love to see an extra large added. You got a huge range of sizes. This is exactly what people need. Different sizes for different sizes face. I want to see that more from manufacturers. Offer more sizes. All right, next up is the Can 99E. This is the let's see, what is this? What brand is this? Vitacore. and 99E, which is their ear loop rated one. So this is an FFP. Actually, what is the rating on this mask? I think it's unrated. I have to go. Actually, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'll look that one up. It's a boat. Has one black ear loop. Let's rock it. Let's see. So yeah, the Gata mask. I'm not really super impressed with that. No question asked. Just want to say thank you. Glad to help MO. M.O. Nia Meg says, do you still think the bot notice will fit masks? Do you still like? So the buttons have changed. I feel like 2 years ago they were a good mask. The game has been improved by all mask levels. Their adjusters were fine, but they were kind of were prone to break. And the nose wire was really good on the buttons, or like one of the stiffer options. But then they since changed the nose wire to a less stiff nose wire. So that happened. So I think the buttons are off my list nowadays. It's kind of the same with the same. Oops, gotta get this opened up there. Same with LG Airwasher that used to be up on my list. They had a great nose wire. They've now changed that mask, so it won't have that stiff of nose wire anymore. Although I have not been able to confirm it with them directly, so we're going to call that 1.04. Oops. I've sent them a few emails. Someone gave me I have the contact for them, but like they haven't responded to my emails. But I've seen a lot more posts about that, so I think they're going to change. Once I leave the 4, we're going to recharge after this. So. Called it at 28.23. Finally settled in there. That is a damn good mask. 99.72. I do have a Goldilocks face. I don't know why I'm just so fortunate to have just the right size face, because even with an ear loop mask, I still get 99.72. Probably could even do better if I did that a little tighter. So KN99 is pretty solid. Let's see. I got to turn the generator on in a second here. I got to wait for this one to close out. So yeah, I'm not a fan of the buttons anymore. I mean, they're fine. They're still protective masks. They're just not my favorite. Palcoms are great. Big fan of Bonafide masks. They've done a good job on that. The price point's really good. Yeah, so I'm a fan of. We'll test the green. They have some colored ones I've had sitting on my thing back there for like the last month and a half. So we're gonna test those today as well. Jerry says he's never got any shots, but he still hasn't got COVID. Why wearing a mask? I mean, I guess good for you. I'd still recommend getting vaccinated. It ain't perfect, but like everything, nothing is. We don't have a single mitigation that is perfect. If we did, we'd just be using that 1.073 to the 4. So relying just on the shots, that helps stop severe disease, but doesn't stop transmission. Wearing a mask, great. You can stop transmission in a lot of places, but you can't wear a mask all the time, and you're probably going to wear a mask around your family all the time, and so you have vectors of transmission that are still there. So no mitigation we have is perfect, but I think if you combine all of them together, you can stop COVID. We need a few more. Ventilation, filtration, all that good stuff. Let's do the Little Kids KN95 next. Oh yeah, that's nice. I'm just playing with the Breathe Tech. I'm comparing the Breathe Tech to the Can Mask. Oh yeah, so Can Mask and Breathe Tech are using two very similar nose wires. I'd be willing to bet they're using the same nose wire, given that they're not the same length, but that's easy to change. Yeah, they're using like the similar material. So I think Breathe Tech just made it really long too. So Breathe Tech is longer. They made a long, nice, sealable aluminum nose wire. It's like, wow, you did all the things. You made it stiffer. You made it longer. You made it more malleable. Great job. Yeah, so let's see. So Breathe Tech, someone got it out there. Yeah, Breathe Tech with a Q. Did I put CH in the end? Oh, no, I spelled it right. You can always watch my sheet. It's happening live below. Mia says, thanks for the bot. And the nose wire and breathability were great. I like the MassLab ones, but the nose wires, yeah, I agree. My biggest complaint of MassLab has always been like, they were the first to make really nice printed masks, but the nose wire isn't amazing. And it's actually the same issue I have with Seiwu. Seiwu makes a super breathable, very comfortable mask, but the nose wire is like, it's on the weak side. I still like that mask, especially the Ultra series from Seiwu, because they have the thick, chunky ear loops. They're the thickest of thick, and they're so comfortable to wear. So that's why I like the Seiwus. Thoughts on nose foam? Nose foam, is it important for a good seal? I think nose foam can provide an improvement in seal, but you need a nose wire that matches that. So like in the Auras, that works to help with masks like other masks. Like I'll pick on Armbrust, for example. Initially, when he launched his KN95, he used nose foam in there, but with a very weak nose wire. And so the nose foam actually overpowered the nose wire. So you have to pair the nose foam with that. I think in general it probably adds benefit because it adds more compliance and more like fit to the nose wire. So I'd like to see masks with that. I would like to see a little bit more like really thin, kind of on like the boat style. I think we'll get there over time. I think people are going to start to figure out what are the nice improvements you can make to masks. Since they're not going away, and I think that hopefully more people pick them back up as XBB comes, but it's hard to say. Yeah, so G says, please do the Toy Story Seiwu ones, just to see how they stand up in terms of filtration. It's your lucky day. I'll be testing the Seiwu Toy Story ones up here next. We only got one. We got the Armbrust left, Powcom left, Toy Story Seiwus, some bifold KF94s, and then we're done. And then I go do some pressure drop measurement. I'll put the measurements in there, and I'll be done for the day. Then I can next week and make my video, my top mask picks, and then I can be done. It'll just say, here are the best masks. Because I know a lot of people just want to know what the best is. I haven't done an update video in like 2 years, which is my bad. And I need to do that. I've just been lazy. I didn't think anyone really cared about masks. I always kept saying, like, last fall, I was like, or last spring, I was like, no one's going to care about this stuff anymore. I got other things to work on. I got some other things to focus on. Some other, like, open arrow stuff. Trying to create open arrows and trying to go do all that stuff. And so I didn't think anyone would care. And then I just, for some reason, every spring I'm like, this will be the last year of the pandemic. We're not going to have to worry about it. And so every year I keep saying that. So now shame me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So I'm like, shame on me 3 times. Share, fool me 3 times. Shame on me. Definitely shame on me. I just need to finish the damn thing. Yeah, I know. I think there's still people out there that wear masks. I've seen in Minneapolis here, especially with the talk of XBB and the hospitalizations happening in New York, I'm seeing a lot more masks. I saw V-Flex in the wild yesterday. I went to go pick up some Chinese food at a small restaurant near me called Mayan. Pretty tasty place. I like it. And a person rolled in with a V-Flex, and I was like, whoa. I even asked him, like, where did you hear about the V-Flex? He's like, oh, I found it from some blogs and stuff. I said, oh, interesting. I didn't tell him who I was because I'm pretty sure he doesn't care, but I thought I was curious about how someone who you got to be pretty nerdy to like the V-Flex. So we'll go wait for this, 2.707, 2.706 into 4. I'll fill it in as I wear it. This is the Kids 90, the Can 99 Kids. Ooh, it's a little guy. Apparently Canadian kids are quite small. Oh, they're 138.6. 138.6. I gotta wait till it kind of stabilizes. So 99.49. So that's pretty dang good. Good job, Canada Mask. Or excuse me, Vidicor. Toby asked, do you know if any NIOSH USA or EU will develop community standard masks, including for kids, or is this all dropped? So the U.S. is working on a general pandemic mask standard, or general public mask standard. There was a call out for the action at ASME. I submitted my name to be on the committee. I think I got approved, but I need to follow up because I haven't heard anything. So yes, there will be a general public mask standard. Then once this committee can make the standard and say how we do the standardized testing and all the requirements, then someone like the FDA, well, hopefully not the FDA, I'd like NIOSH to see NIOSH scope expand beyond just workplace to be just like inhalation protection division. Have NIOSH manage the standard, and then you can have basically like a non-workplace but regulated mask standard. So it's in process. It's going to take forever because it takes a while, but I think it'll happen. I think there's enough people pushing now that recognize like N95s are not that great. I mean, N95s are fine, but they require head straps, and I think there's a real legitimate argument about what does a general public mask standard need to look like. Do you need P100 levels? No, I think N95 levels are probably more than enough. I'd like to also see levels that are lower than that, especially you're saying, well, why would you want that? So the Armbrust KN95, it's a new version. It's KN95, bifold. It's as worn. It's white. It's ear loop. So my argument is that from a masking standpoint, you have to include the environment that you're in terms of the consideration of how much protection you need. As we focus on room ventilation and stuff like that, you don't necessarily need as good of a mask if you can have ventilation as being an addition to it and other technologies. So the mask level needs to maybe vary over time. So I hope that the standards get written such that they cover a wide range of filtration efficiencies, because I think there is something to be said. I actually tried a mask on that was a 90% mask. I won't say how I got it or how I came about it, but it was a 90% filtration efficiency mask, like 92, 93% of a super high-end media. So think about like the media that's in that Breathe Tech that's providing 99%, and you go to 90%. Well, it makes it insanely breathable to the point like you literally are not wearing a mask, but you have 90% filtration efficiency. How would that change the public's perception of mask wearing? So I'd like to see a standard that covers a wide range because I think it'll be important in the future. More work needs to be done. That's the answer. Okay, so Armbrust changed the mask. I'm going to need to tighten these ear loops up. So update is using a noodle style ear loop now. It's nice. I like that. Good job, my only complaint of, and I sent Lloyd a message to let him know my thoughts on this mask. Build quality is really good. You know, it's funny to see Armbrusts continue churning out masks. Now this have a new filter material inside of it too. There we go. My only complaint. Now this is what I had to say. I said the only time I've ever had to complain. So the breathability is much better on this. Still getting some mask collapse, but the breathability is improved. Is the nose wire? I know it's too stiff. The nose wire is so thick and heavy that it's actually hard to get to conform to my nose. And because it's a bifold, it comes pinched out of the factory. So it's really hard to get the pinch out of the bifold, out of the seam right here. And so it's like, it's almost too stiff. I know. I thought I'd never say that. But yeah, we have a mask that has a nose wire that's too stiff. We've gone the wrong, you know, it's good that we've gone that far that way. All right, 246.9. Stabilize at 246.9. 98.9. Well, that's really good. So Armbrust has gone, you know, yeah, I do sound more muffled than the Armbrust too, because it's like sitting right against my mouth. So I will say that, you know, nice improvement, but I think the nose wire is actually too stiff. Probably an experiment worth doing is I might maybe can slide in the Breathe Tech nose wire. The Breathe Tech would be, that Breathe Tech nose wire and that mask would be perfect for a bifold. So it's too stiff, or bring in some nose foam. Now this is a good opportunity when you have a nose wire that's that stiff, is that now you can bring back the nose foam to help with a little bit more comfort in getting that sealing. So I hope Lloyd thinks about those things. I chatted him already, sent him a text message, let him know, hey, this is my thoughts. He sent me some of the masks. I don't make any money on this deal. I just test and review in my free time. I don't know why I still do it. Well, I do know why I still do it. Because now I have a project to make a respirator myself. It's an open source one, so we'll give it away for free, but and people still want to need to know masks, so I will continue to do what I can to help, even though I'm tired of it. I mean, what are we up to? 668 lines in my mask test dating sheet. It's a lot of masks. Okay, since we're on the bifold binge, let's do another one. We'll do the Powcom KN95 in green. These are the new colored series that Powcom came out with. See how they're doing these days. For those that don't know, if you have a bifold, take your thumb and forefinger, squish that flat seal, and then kind of bend it around your finger. See, I can kind of turn that into like match my nose profile. It's a nice tip about improving your seal on the bifolds. Not a fan of the bifolds. Cheap, but I don't think they're that great. But better than a surgical mask, right? I think that's what everyone forgets. When we first started this project, everyone was wearing cloth masks. It was so easy for me to say, hey, you can wear anything better than a cloth mask, right? A surgical mask is better than a cloth mask. GB. So this is a KN95 GB 2626-2019. It's a bifold. It says worn. It's green. And it's ear loop. All right. So the one thing I like about Powcom masks is that they're so cheap. It is such an easy way to get people into these masks because they're so inexpensive. So I like to recommend them. They have colors now. They're like under $1 a mask, but I feel like the space is getting, like mask prices are getting, we're hitting close to the bottom now. People are not going to be making much money on these anymore. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the mask space going forward. So Powcom and Armbrust and all these in the bifold world is going to be very interesting. The Amazon masks. The one good thing is that the mask quality seems to at least stabilize. I mean, I still don't recommend buying on Amazon, but at least like in terms of the fakes, we're starting to see that kind of die. 1.832 e to the 4. Like, I'm sure. I guess maybe I should go back to testing masks on Amazon, but I think Lloyd's been testing them still and hasn't found a lot of crappy ones. So like the quality is getting better. Sorry, this one's kind of touching my ear. Oh, there we go. All right, so the 178. We stabilized at 178. So 99%. Great job, Palcom. Getting breathable. Yeah. Good mask. Good mask. All right, next up, let's do the Save Woos in the printed formats. See how they stack up. And I have two sizes that they offer them. They offer them in a medium and a regular 2. Or a regular, well, let's see. Regular, yep. They're printed. Print quality is really good. Probably mask lab level quality, so people are figuring it out. They're figuring it out. All right, call it there. Let's stabilize. It's coming up still a little bit. All right, 1.849 e to the 4. 1.849 e to the 4. Yeah, 99%. Yeah, nice work, Palcom. Y'all making a good mask. All right, next up, let's do the Save Woo Woody mask. I'll just slide the nose wire so it's centered in there. My big complaint on the Save Woos is always, and will always be, I wish that they would put a better nose wire in. Just longer. I think it just needs to be longer. Stiffness is good, but length is no bueno. Go to an aluminum nose wire, Save Woo. Go do an aluminum nose wire. Printed mask. I mean, we're getting close. The ultimate mask, we're getting closer, right? Do this printed style mask with noodly ear, with your super thick noodly ear loop version of the Ultra with an aluminum nose wire and printed, and you're there. All right, so we're getting close to the ultimate mask. Okay, so this is the Save Woo Woody printed mask, size medium. I think these, I'm going to say this is FFP2 again, a K95, but they're not printed on there, so it would not conform to the FFP2 standard. But, so I got to look at that a little closer. It's it's, I don't know, blue mostly. It's ear blue. And the concentration, 1.624 e to the 4. All right, let's rock this nice Save Woo printed. I feel like the ear loops are too weak too. I'm getting a little leak right here in this nose. I just can't. And this is my complaint with Seibu's. I only let him get away with it because the damn Ultra version was such a nice. Call it there at 306. It's bouncing around a little bit, but 306 is what it's going to be. 98.12. That's really good. All right. Oh, Cynthia G says, got to head out, but thank you. Super excited for that top mass pick video. Thank you for doing all the hard work, Aaron. No problem. It'll come out here shortly. Next weekend. I'll shoot it next weekend. I got to think about what all the content is in it, but it's easier than the other analysis videos. The one that where I calculated whether you should go to a P100 or not, that video took a lot of time to do all the modeling and then calculations and then checking them and then rechecking them and thinking about how you can explain all that. That took a long time. Saying I like this mask because it's good is easy, so that video should go pretty fast. All right, so let's do 1.575 E to the 4. All right, so Seibu's are good. I mean, 98% is plenty. I mean, it's good. I would like to maybe see 9.5, but boy, we're really. I mean, I love that this is my complaint. You know, at this point in the pandemic, this ultra breathable printed mask. You know, I'd like to see maybe a smidgen more filtration efficiency and a better ear loop. Like, I love that's where we're at in 2023. In 2022, I would have just been happy with anything. Or 2020, excuse me. 2020, I would have been happy with anything. All right, let's do the Jesse one. This is an R. I will complain though. I do feel like the ear loop on the printed mask is just not as good as the ear loop on the Ultras. Go. All right. Almost done here. Concentration stabilized. I think we got what? 3 masks left. No, 4 masks left. Then we'll fire up the port account, check out those Moldex issues, and do a little comparison there on the ones that didn't perform as well as I'd like. And then we can move on and do that. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to be running P100, so I can't use the N95 companion. Interesting. Although if I use the N95 companion, in theory, I can see if it fits better. Okay, that's just me talking to myself. 1.324 E to the 4. We'll do some experiments there. You're going to leak right out of the nose, right there. All right, call it 196. Jumping around a little bit. 196 right there. 98 and a half. Wow. Okay, so the other one probably just had a little bit of more of a leak. So, yeah, filtration efficiency looks really good on these. And the breathability is so freaking good. And they are registered with Disney and Pixar. They have like the holographic logo and all that stuff. So I think they actually are legitimately licensing that, which doesn't always happen in some countries. But they're legit and they breathability is good. So if you go to Disneyland or World and you want to not get COVID, wear one of these masks. They got Toy Story. Hopefully they do more with that. I love the printed mask space. I'm really excited for that. So I hope that they people keep expanding on that. So I like that. All right, 1.29 e to the 4. All right, 98 and a half. Good job, Sabre. That's kind of been what the numbers have kind of been bumping around with all their masks, about 98.5%. So money for the breathability. That was awesome. Great job. Oh, now we got one more, and then we'll have to hit the generator on. Where did I put that mask? Oh, right there. All right, let's do the kids' mask. So this is just for the, since I'm doing these here, we'll just test a few of them out here. So this is the Save Woo Toy Story printed mask and small. I will say the primary constituent color is blue, even though it's really blue and green. But no, we're at 3:30, so we're 3 hours into this. Boy, we're almost done. Almost done. And then I'll go do the pressure drop measurements, and then we're done, and then a final video, and then I don't know. Yeah, G. I think if you're, I think they're a good mask, perfect for Disneyland and stuff like that. I'm glad. I think printed masks are cool. Let's see. 1.173 e to the 4. 1.173 e to the 4. All right. The good news is with the kids' mask, I don't have to shorten the ear loops. Oh boy, this might be an extra small. Gonna have to pinch the nose wire on this one because it's just too small for me. This must be an extra small. I think this is definitely an extra small. I think well, actually, I'm not, oh, shoot. Sorry. I don't know what size this thing actually is. I'll just call it small for now. I'll come back. Put a small question mark and I'll come back in. Call it 193. 193. Jumping around a bit there. So 98.35. So there we go. So pretty dang good. Let's stabilize, kick the generator on, answer some questions, finish the last 3 masks, do the port account test on the Moldex mask, and then I'll go do some pressure up and sizing measurements on the kitchen table, and then we'll be done. 5 hours of my life. All right, call it there at 1.124 e to the 4. 124 e to the 4. So there we go. All right, so Seiwu making good quality products there. That's good to see. Let's see the Vanals. These are KF94s, bifolds. From Evergreen. I remember from the Evergreen clear top, and I'll make a bifold. Haven't typed KF94 in a while. I'll tell you that. It's been a long time. Oh, generator on, duh. Not a big fan of the bifold style, even if the KF94, sorry. Now, when I stop this, I got to remember to make sure to keep the comments on so people can see the live comments in the live stream video. So I'll make sure I save that. I'm not sure exactly what button I have to click for that, but I'll make sure I find it. But we'll keep those comments on there so people can watch in the past. If you have comments, now it's time to toss it in. I'll answer them quickly while we wait for the room to charge back up with aerosol. Takes a few minutes. Let's see. Chris says, can you comment on how long I can safely reuse a mask? 40 hours? Yep, 40 hours is just fine. For N95s, they get tested at 200 milligrams, so you can basically wear them until, this is 3M's mask specifically, but I would apply to almost all N95. They say you can wear them until they're hard to breathe in, or they do longer seal in your face. So I think the key thing is you can, beyond 40 hours, they get pretty stanky and beat up, so you're probably not going to make it that far. But technically, you can wear them for a really long time, so long as that they're still fitting tightly to your face. And that's the big issue, is that the mechanical structure of the mask, after so many dons and doffs and just having it around, it starts to not quite hold its shape as well. The ear loops get stretched out, the headband gets stretched out. So at that point, you'll need to replace it. But yeah, I mean, the technical answer is you can wear them until they're hard to breathe in or don't fit your face anymore. So 40 hours is my recommendation. Hopefully that answers your question, Chris. All right. Well, coming up, I'm going to stop it a little early because we don't need to go that high since we're only going to test a couple masks here. I'll let it stabilize and then we'll go. All right. All right, I'm just checking out, see if there's any text messages. No one's bothering me on the TEP side of stuff. I will hopefully get the new Breathe 2 mask from Proshintex, but I haven't got it yet. So hopefully that shows up. It'd be an interesting mask to test. Otherwise, I don't really know what else on the horizon. I think I've pretty much covered everything. There might be a few N95s I haven't touched, but I would say it's not a lot. I guess there's the Draeger boat style mask. They're not released in the U.S. You got to order them. There's also some other Canadian or German company, Hard Mask, I think is one of them I haven't got to. So there's a few out there. I just, at this point in time, like, I'm focusing on good masks that you can get in the U.S. I mean, I know there's an international audience, but hopefully we'll continue to see people figure out that you can use port accounts to do all this and buy them. Although don't buy too many because I still buy them. But like more people testing it. And there's not as much concern about fake masks coming out of Europe. Let's see. So this is going to be bifold as worn. It's tan. It's ear loop. And the concentration is 2.992 in the form. So to me, this is just so I can finish my last video off for a while and say what are my favorite ones that I found so far. I mean, the hard mask might be really nice, but they're from Germany. They're hard to import. You know, there's still a lot of KF94s. I would have to have a nose pitch on this one. Call it 283. 283. Yep. Chocolate and KF94 legitimate. Not really that surprising or exciting anymore. Yeah, so I haven't really touched a lot of KF94s and stuff like that. Just because, like, yes, you can order on Gmarket, but at this point, there's so much options out there. And if you want to go play around and order the latest, greatest on Gmarket, go for it. But for me, like, having domestic sources, I actually prefer that myself too. It's nice that I can just go to Family Math and buy some Seiwus or go to Breedtech and buy some Breedtechs, which I have purchased. I purchased with my own money. And so, to me, that's so much nicer. Yeah, I mean, it's great that there's people around the world that don't have access to this, but I hope that more mass nerds in each country can get up and figure out what's good in their space. Chris asks, what's your thoughts on XBB.1.5, and if it's higher infectiousness, do you think it's safer to switch to an N95 from a KN95? I mean, so I think the argument is, yes, on average, you'll get better protection out of a N95 because headbands are tighter and can provide more sealing pressure to the mask. But without a fit test, it's, you know, that's my recommendation. Like, sure, go at N95. So, like, the progress of more safety is, like, surgical mask, then go to KF94, KN95, then go to an N95, and then N95 fit test. Then, once you're at that point, then you can go P100 if you really want to, but I think the return on that's very low. So that's kind of what I would recommend if you're looking for more safety. So N95 would be a good move. Just make sure it fits well. And if you want to continue to upgrade your thing, then think about fit test. Now there's do-it-yourself options with using a nebulizer and the solution. You can also buy the fit tester from Gerson for $150. You can also go and search the web in your region for industrial hygienist or occupational medicine. And you can either get a qualitative fit test, which is the Bittrex test that I was talking about, or you can get a quantitative port account fit test, which is what I would recommend. And some places will do that for you for $150. So that's kind of how, if you want to kind of like continue to up your mask game, once you go past N95, then do fit test. Actually, I recommend doing a fit test even if you're not using an N95. I fit test on KF94s because I have a Goldilocks face. But, you know, it's an important part. Filtration and fit, both of those together define your protection. In terms of XBB being more infectious, I am not an epidemiologist or an infectious disease person, but as I understand it, you know, it's the problem with it is it more contagious? How contagious it is both how much it replicates and also our immune resistance to it. And so, are these things getting to be more concentration of aerosol for stuff? Maybe we kind of saw that maybe with some of Don Milton's work about Omicron, that there were more infectious aerosols, more copies of the DNA per droplet or aerosol. But it also starts to evade the immune system. So then it's like it's immune evading and maybe it's more infectious. So it's hard to know. That's kind of the problem with these variants coming so fast is that no one can. By the time universities, 2.49 e to the 4 on that one. Sorry, 2.49 e to the 4. By the time the data is in, the variant's over. I mean, that's kind of our issue right now. Is like they're moving so fast that universities can't get data on them. I'll do it as Warren here, but it's leaking. Call it 502.9. It's leaking a little bit. It's definitely leaking. So, yeah, Chris, yeah, you are correct that there is more ACE2 receptor on the XBB, which makes it more dangerous in terms of like how severe the infection can be, which is the problem, right? So Delta to Omicron was less, and then now we're back to more, which is the problem with variants is roll the dice. You never know what you get. Maybe it's going to be not so bad, maybe not. Maybe it is worse, but it doesn't freaking go away. Play Cloud Plus pieces of the Aeronum Air Mask Light Reusable FFP2 KN95. Have you tested it? I don't. I actually have one in the basement. I tested their new active mask. I had asked for one. I got it. There's a defect in the manufacture of it, and they sent me another one. It also had the same defect, and I haven't heard back from them, so I'm waiting for them to get back to me. I'm not super impressed with them. I just feel like the covering and stuff like that makes it harder to breathe in. I don't quite understand the design intent, so I'm not super impressed with it. So I was going to wait for them to get back to me. 97.91 with that one. I'm going to guess that was just because it's a little bit of leaky on my face. I am actually not going to test the large because I feel like this is a boring game. They're good. Maybe I'll find them here. I might as well, but I feel like the bifolds. I don't like bifold masks. You guys know that. You all know that. But I feel like I'm wasting my time testing them, so I'll do it though for you. YouTube tests, is the idea that you fit test every time. The idea behind fit testing is that, like I said, by feel alone, I could probably get into the 97, 98% range, which would mean I'm getting close to almost a fit factor. I think like 100, but the idea is that you know that the mask fit you, you know how to don it, you know how to doff it, and then you're good to go from there. This is why, it's not perfect, and this is why the assigned protection factor for N95s is only 90%. It's a 10x reduction. It's only 90%, is because the probability that you take on and take off the mask every time perfectly is low, and so that's one of the issues. But the idea is that you just know what the symptoms of a mask not fitting are. You know that the mask fit you at one point in time, and you can kind of get a good feel for about where leaks are and how it should fit and how it should feel. That's the idea. Oh, this is a big one. So we'll just do, as Warren, this will never work for me. This is actually too big for me. It's a big mask. We'll have to do a nose pitch because this just does not fit me. Actually, let's just do fix the mask and be done. Let's not waste my time much more. Let's just do fix the mask. Because it's not going to fit me. It's too big. And then someone's going to see a low filtration efficiency, and they're going to go, was that a bad KF94? No, the KF94 is fine. It just didn't fit me. So we'll just do fix the mask. Prove that the filter media inside these is good. But unfortunately, oh, I'm a dingus, though, here. I got to do this. All right, 2.002 before. Let me do this. So my issue with bifolds are they don't seal that well, and I don't know why people like them as much, but. All right, 55. So really great media in these masks, right? Really great media. But if they don't fit you, they don't do much for you. So fit plus filtration. Good filter media on them, though. Damn. 99.7. So that's kind of the fun game, right? Nowadays, getting good filter media is like, it's funny to see the quality factor going up on all of them. All right, so let's see. So answered YouTube punks. Chris said the good news is it's still an Omicron variant. I mean, technically it's of the Omicron stuff, but it's this lineage stuff gets really difficult because the branching happened so early, and there's all the different paths that it could go, and so like as they divergently evolve, is it still really the same? I don't know. I don't think it's in its final. It's clearly not in its final form because now we're on like what version of Omicron? So we have original OG Omicron, BA2, BA5, BA212, BA2, which is the lineage from BA2 is to XBB. So like, yeah, it's on the same chain, but like we're on like the 5th version of this thing now, and they're all slightly different. Let's see. Hey Aaron, have you seen the new Well Before 3D K95 Premium mounts? Yes. Copy is the 3M Aurora Shores wide nose foam hard nose wire, but with adjustable ear loops instead of headbands. Yep, that's pretty common with boat shape mask. You'll see a lot of those. So KF94s feature that, like the Breathe Tech that we just tested today. That I call that the boat shape or that trifold. Yeah, the Well Befores are pretty solid. When they first started out, they were really unbreathable, but they have made a 180 since there. Now they're much better, a very breathable mask, very like a good price point. But probably my recommendation, my top budget pick, because you can get them for like 80 cents a mask. If you're going to go that route, but I feel like the Save-Woos are getting to that price point too, so it's kind of hard to say, but they'll make it to the list. They're a much better mask than they were in the past. YouTube says so. So it's like training to wear a mask properly. Yeah, fit testing is like training, so you know how well the mask fits. Last question: bifold nose wires are crimped out of the box. It's hard to reshape. Agreed. That's why I don't like bifolds. I'm going to fire up the port account here. We're going to play around with some of those. Moldexes that weren't fitting me so well. I'm going to test them, see what's going on there. I think they're fine. I think I have a leak and I can't tell. When you get above like a couple percent, it gets very, very difficult to tell if it's leaking and where it's leaking from. I'll be honest with you there. So, I do not have my connection for this, the serial connection for this port account today. So we're going to be doing you're going to trust me, but what I'm going to do is I'll start it. I'll show you I'll switch over to my phone, which has got the IP cam set up. I'll jump that over to there, and I'll show you all what I see. Right now, I've got the port on it here, so I'm going to wait for it to boot up. I'm going to do some zero checks to make sure it zeroes out, and then we'll see what's going on there with the port account. Jay Gardner says, not sure if you know the answer, but I have a far UVC device, and I'm wondering if it could possibly degrade a mask or not. Good question. I'm not sure, actually. I'll answer that question. Oh, it depends what kind of far UVC. If it's like a 254 nanometer germicidal box, I don't think, no. So the answer is no, UVC is not going to cause any filtration degradation. So no, I don't think so. Although you do get some weird, if you use 222 nanometer lamps and you are wearing a mask close to it, you do smell something. So there's some photo ionization that definitely happens. So yeah, but no, in general, I wouldn't worry about it. Wouldn't worry about wearing a mask next to a box, or you can put it in there if you want. I'm not really sure the UVC disinfection is really how valuable it is. Chris asked me, how is your new venture Open Arrows going? Good. We're very busy. Busy. We'll have some stuff to talk about shortly. The problem with doing stuff open source on the hardware side. Okay, so right now we have 237 particles here. Let me jump into the Droid Cam. Un momento. Por favor. Let me just jump into the Droid Cam. Turn it on. Let me pull it up on here. I can turn it on with my browser. Let's see. Turn it on. Is it going? No, it's not going here. Let's try it again here. Droid Cam. Okay. It is not working. Let me try clearing it out and try it again. Technology! Okay. Let me jump in here. Yeah, what's going on here? Huh, it's not working. Okay, well, let me try just deleting it and then reopening because it wasn't active. So let's just delete this. Remove. Yes, I'm going to add a browser. I'll hit call browser. I'll paste in the source location. I'll hit OK. Okay, there we go. Hey, okay, we're live. You can see. All right, so port account. The service light's on. It's getting close to the end of its life. I haven't seen it yet. The service means that the photodiode is losing strength. It's on the end of its last leg. It's for about 193, 200 particles per cc. So now I'm going to try to do this one-handed here. Oh, sorry, I'm going to set you down. I'm going to connect the zero count to it, the filter. Maybe we're going to, if you're still watching, we can tear this one down. We wanted to take one of these apart for a while, but we have functional ones, and we don't want to take apart a functional one to see what they got going on the inside. This would be interesting. All right, so zeroed out, okay? So no particles are coming into it, just like we did with the code count. Okay, so we'll turn it back off. Y'all can see count rate comes back up. Okay, the next thing you want to do on these is on the back side of the N95 companion. I'm going to turn off the little differential mobility, little sorter that's in the back. It's a sizer. You watch this LED turn red. If I hit it hard enough. Okay, see the light went red? Now this should also go to 0. 86, 35, 7, 1.2, 0. Okay, I don't know if you're able to see that 0. Okay, so with the N95 companion, with the voltage off on the differential, it's 0, so okay, we're good. Now it's not perfect. This has not been calibrated because they don't offer calibration services for this anymore, but it does work. Okay, I'm going to don one of the N95s that was having a problem with, the N95. We'll chart with this one here. I got the tube stuck in there. All right, so, oh, I just dropped that. I'll need that. I don't want to lose that. One moment. Sorry for the poor production quality here at the end. I'm letting you all down. I know. What did they do with that filter? Okay, so I got the port account up. I got my mask on. I'm going to don the mask. I had set that baby tight, hadn't I? We're going to go hit the fit test button here. We'll start a fit test. It'll take a minute, literally. Oh, you know what? I'm so stupid. I'm waiting here forever. Like, why is this not doing anything? Helps if you hit the start button. Duh. Sorry for wasting your time there. Low particle? That's impossible. Oh man, maybe this thing's dead too. Let's go to count. What's going on here? Let me just pop this off and see what that filter rate is. Oh yeah, we are low. All right, let me turn the generator on. You can see my backyard if you'd like. It's pretty snowy out here in Minneapolis right now. Pretty dang snowy. All right, I'm gonna pause this video for a second. We'll just turn it off for a moment. All right. So one of the requirements of the port account is that you got to have enough background count, and they need, I think it's 25 particles per cc after it goes through that. And so I need to kick some more aerosol in the room, so we're just below that. So I wasted a few minutes of my time and your time, so sorry about that. Plus I forgot to hit the dang start button. You think it's the first time I'd used one of these things before, but it's getting late in the day here, so we'll generate some more aerosol. Chris says it looks like Winnipeg. Yeah, it's, you know, I'm assuming you all got a lot of snow up there too. It has been a really snowy winter. I think we already have, oh, I don't know. I want to say we got at least 2.5 feet of snow right now, which is just a lot of snow. So that's why I went fat biking yesterday, because it was beautiful. The trails were green. It was cold. It was like 0 Fahrenheit, so it was quite chilly. But it was nice. Okay, I'm going to kick the generator off. I'll let it stabilize for a second, and then we can start. So now we're up to 350 particles per cc for the port account. So there you can see, hopefully, you know, my hand's in the way there. I get too much reflection. Yeah, 304, 317. Okay, so now we can. The count this port back up. fit test. Oops, I'll turn my video back on. Okay, fit test. Then I hit the start button. And the magic happens. So what a port count does, it's basically the same test that I'm doing. Because it has a CPC, condensation particle counter, but it's connected to what's called a differential mobility analyzer. I'll have to actually stop talking here in a second when I feel this thing click. Oh, I have to stop talking, sorry. All right, it'll give us here the number in just a second. So it's doing the upstream measurement again. So what this does is exactly what I do in my test protocol. So it uses the CPC. It's the same thing. It's just that there's this little sizer inside of there. And so it selects for particles that have a single charge. And what that means is that they get caught easily by electrostatic media, which means that if you measure any particles in the mask after they've gone through the sizer, so I got a 200 fit factor. So this mask is fitting me. I'm just going to turn that off. So we do have a fit factor 200. So what it does is that it basically guarantees how well it fits. Oh, you know what? I forgot to do an upstream measurement on that. Oh, well, that's okay. That'll have to survive. I can go back in time and look and fill it in. So I know I'm wearing it. As I'm wearing it right now, I have a fit factor 200. So let's copy this over. And I know that I have a fit factor 200. Let's run this again. 2832. I'm going to take off this one. 2, I'm going to put on this tube. I'm going to try not to break the seal in the mask. This is going to be tough. I'm going to have to break the seal just a smidgen to put the port on. Okay. Oh, I forgot to record the upstream concentration. Dang it. I'm stupid. I'm stupid today. I'll let that stabilize. All right, 2.204 e to the 4. Okay, we'll go ahead and don that. So I'm using my other test method. We're going to call it 414. And we'll take the tube off and we'll see what happens. So I got 98.12 this time. And last time we got 97.43, so yeah, it's pretty close. We'll just say Possible leakage. C line 675. Okay, so we know it's 200. We'll let it stabilize here. We'll do the upstream measurement. So I think what happened is that they, to maximize breathing rate, they just brought it. This will still pass an N95. It's a NIOSH approved, so I'm not worried about that. But I bet you that they brought it right down to the lowest level that they could, so that at the end of the test, they're getting exactly 95% with no margin. Perhaps, or yeah, I'm not sure. But 98.12 is still pretty dang good. It's just that I'm guessing that to get the breathability, they sacrificed a little bit of the filtration efficiency that you see with the other masks don't. But still protective. 173 e to the 4. All right, so that one's off. Now, one of the things, cup masks. I'm not a fan of cup masks. Just not a fan. Okay, so let's try this again with the. What other one did I have that didn't perform well? So that one was 1. So I got 98%. When I tested the one after, I got 99%. So that's kind of interesting that I got 99% with the other one. I got 98% with the 4620. Wait, was that the 4620? What was this one? I might have typed that in wrong. Sorry. I think that was the 4620. Yeah, sorry. I had a typo on that. Let's correct that. So that is the 4620. So last time I got 98%. Oh, wow, look at that. Did I really get exactly the same number? That's crazy. So yeah, I got the same result. So it's not leakage, but I need to update this though. So pull that. So let's just copy that. All right, let's check the 4600. The 4600 is this one right here. So we'll do the same thing. Okay, we got lots of counts. Good. You're happy with me, CPC? Oh, the service light went back off. We're just right on the line of that thing. Yes, I could use a new port account. It's in process, in progress. Okay, so that's done. Let me jump over to here. Turn on the video. You're going to see black. Welcome back. Here we go. Okay. So we're back on the port account. I'm going to hit start test. Oh, I got to go fit test. Start test. Well, you can see that all okay. It's a lot of reflection in here. There we go. That's a better angle. Okay, valve switch. We'll get an answer here in a second. What was my fit factor? In a seated position, not a full fit test, just a seated single position test. Fit factor 200. So we'll turn this off here for a second. So again, we got another fit factor 200. I'm going to pop this one off. Get the upstream concentration, which is 1.694 e to the 4. I'm going to connect that to here. let that stabilize. All right, let's see. Tuber. Oh, hey, Tuber. Yeah, it's been a while. Not doing as much mass testing these days, but still doing it. Matt Johnson says, I know. Actually, I gotta be quiet. I gotta finish this test. Sorry. Oh, they're at 312. Let the upstream settle, and then I'll answer some questions. So I just think the Moldex mask, I guess in the black filter media, maybe when they dye it, it reduces the filtration efficiency a bit. Still within spec, but not as good as the white native media. Maybe that's what's happening there. I'm not sure. I'll answer some questions here quickly. I got 10 seconds here. I know no beard is best, but does beard thickness affect mask efficacy? The answer is yes. It's not so much the filter media, of course, but the face fit. And there's a good paper. If you Google KF94 N95 beard length, there's a great study where a single subject, of course, so it's not like, it'd be great if we did it across a wider range of people, but a single subject trimmed their beard shorter and shorter and shorter and tested a variety of different masks. And basically for every, I think roughly 0.5 millimeter of beard length, they saw like a 0.5% reduction in filtration, fitted filtration efficiency. So highlights, beard length is not great. I think that so far we have an individual that I work with that we hired at Open Arrows. His name's Chris. There's a picture of him on Twitter. He actually has a kind of a beard, pretty lengthy, but he actually, and we're like basically like, we kind of require everyone to wear a well-fitting mask at work. And passed a fit test with the V-Flex. And I think the V-Flex, because it has so much like good coverage and super breathability, really helps with bearded people. So if you're bearded, try V-Flex. But if you have a big old monster one, there's only so much you can do there. Okay, let's see what else we got. Andrew, hey, I'm going back to work tomorrow. I'm wearing a 3M Aura. I will not be messing around. I bet many already 6. Yes, good idea, Andrew. Wear the best mask you can. Do you know a most comfortable one that you can wear during the day? Elizabeth Miskin asks, do you know any recent news about the scientist who got slapped by the lawsuit? Yeah, that's that Marwa Zatari. It's working its way through. If you go to her GoFundMe page, she's been posting updates there. Some great stuff. They had an insider from GPS that was willing to basically testify against GPS, saying that like they knew that their things didn't work and they knew that they were just trying to make as much money as they can. It's kind of interesting. So they knew it was up. So I think in the end of the day, Mara will come and be victorious in this, but at the end of the day, it still cost her $150,000 or $300,000, anywhere from $150,000 to $200,000 to fight that lawsuit. That's the beauty of the American court system. Isn't that awesome, right? So even if you do even if you're right, you still lose. Okay, so we're gonna try here. We're gonna use the N95 companion on a P100. I'm curious what will happen. This is the P100 that we only got 98% with. Let's see, what did I get with that? P100, where's that P100? I got 99.72. Okay, so that's probably not a big deal. We'll test it again. We'll see what happens. You really shouldn't, you don't really have to use a port account with this. It's probably going to show that it fits perfectly fine, but let's try it and see what happens here. Let me hit count real quick just to make sure we have enough in the background. We do. Got lots of particles. Let's go to a fit test here. So we'll try it again here. All right, I'm going to bring you back up here. Wow, it's weird to come to a mask that's not very breathable again. All right, so we're going to go ahead, hit start test. Not very breathable. All right, fit factor 200 on an N95 companion with a P100, so it's kind of a weird test, but it's not leaking on me, that's for sure. But a fit factor 200 would be 99.5, so it could be leaking more than that. But let's just try it again on my normal test. One second, let me turn this off. All right, so let's go back to our normal test. Upstream concentration is 1.318 e to the 4. All right, call it at 25.91. $99.8. So it's kind of interesting. I'm not sure why. I don't know why I'm not getting that exactly as high as I would expect to see. I would expect this to if I have no leak, to be much higher than that. So it's kind of interesting. I'm not sure. I could test another one, I guess, but I have to go punch it. So I don't think it'll stay a mystery for now. Considering we got 99.9, 99.9, 98.1, and 98.8. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. So maybe, what did they get last time? 99.72. Oh, so it's not that different. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe there's maybe, I mean, it might be, I mean, it would be a very small leak. Even if it was a leak, it would be very, very, very tiny. So it could just be the port itself is leaking. Maybe we're leaking around the port or something like that. I would expect to see slightly better than that, but it could also have a leakage on the face because, like I said, that the nose alignment thing is wrong, and a leak that small is like super hard to detect. I mean, that would be a fit factor. It's going to be a fit factor of like, we could try. We could do the port account without it. Let's do that. Let's do that. One moment, please. Let me turn the port account off. Disconnect this thing. Disconnect that. Disconnect this. I'll do this right now. Let me go on my port account. We'll test it with the port account. We'll do a fit factor measurement on my port account. One moment, please. I got all the tools. I got all the tools. Here we go. All right, we'll take it off at N99. Take it off at N99 mode. Put my power back on. Turn it on. Take 1 minute to bring it back up. Answer some questions while we wait. Then I'm going to be done with testing. Okay, let's figure it out. Oh, I've not seen the. Okay, let's get some questions. Let's see. I've not seen any test of the 3M 9820. I have no idea what the 3M. I'm not sure on the 3M 9820. They have some regionally specific masks. 3M 9820. I'm not. Let's see. What mask is the 9820? Oh, yeah. It's a. I don't know what exactly the replacement for that is. It's not a U.S. mask. I'm not sure what that mask is. I'd have to see it from the side. I don't think I've ever tested that one before. Yeah, sorry, I've never tested the 9820. I'm not sure what the comparative mask is on that one. They don't sell that in the U.S. So I'm not sure. Sorry, I can't help you on that particular question, Gabriel Granados. But if you live in Mexico and you could buy it and it's 3M and it's a NIOSH N95, like, there's no fear of that, my friend. So if you're worried that you don't have a legitimate mask, I wouldn't. If you can make sure that you just get it from a 3M authorized dealer, it's going to be an N95. They're going to be really good. My data has shown over and over again, N95s are really, really good. So if you're wearing an N95, you're going to be in good shape. Okay, so we're going to rock this P100 again, and we're going to use it in port account mode in not N95 companion mode. And we'll test it out here and see how well it does. See what my fit factor is. I'll bring y'all around for the ride, don't worry. All right, we'll do a fit test here. I gotta turn on this on to here. One moment, please. Put this back on. All right, we're back on. So we're on. So now we're just using standard P100 mode. So I disconnected the N95 companion. We'll go ahead and just do a single fitted test. Fit factor 205. So it's real. So, it's 205. So that's interesting. So they're seeing this. So the port account's getting the same thing. So it doesn't fit my face. Or fit factor equals 205. So it's like the exact same value I'm getting. So, I forgot to do the post value. Okay, well, I'll leave that. I'll fill that in later, too. We're kind of just playing around here anyways. I'll have to rewatch the footage again. So, port account saw the same thing. So maybe my test port is leaking somewhere. Maybe that's my issue. I'm not sure. Or it doesn't fit me very well. It's leaking. It might be leaking on my face too. So that's a possibility that just because of that offset, this particular mask, because of like the foam's offset. That'd be my guess. But I still feel like it should do better than that. All right. Okay, we're gonna call it there though. I gotta. We're almost at 4 hours. So let's see. What do we got? Let me answer the last bit of questions everyone has. So we have answered Gabriel Granado's question. Andrew, so hey, I'm going back tomorrow. We talked about that. Elizabeth, yep. Andrew asked, can long-term mask wear affect your lungs at all? No. So there's some discussion about like does the increase in CO2 and all that jazz, and you will inhale slightly, a very, very small amount more CO2 because there's some trapped breath in your mask. When you breathe back in, you're going to breathe that small amount of trapped volume back in. But the beauty of your body is that it adapts for that. So what will happen is that you increase your lung function. Oftentimes you hear people talking about like, oh, well, the recorded CO2 concentration in the mask was exceeding the concentration in a room by the EPA or ASHRAE or whoever does that. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. But one, that's bullshit. Two, most of those measurements are wrong and you don't on average for the full lung breath. But the big difference between EPA or like who's our health agency that dictates maximum exposure limits? OSHA. The OSHA CO2 concentration. And the reason for that the OSHA has like a room concentration limit of I think maybe 1,500 or 5,000 ppm is because in a situation in which you're doing activity, your body knows how much oxygen it needs and it will start to breathe deeper. When you start taking bigger and bigger breaths, it's because you need more oxygen. And in a room, if you had like really high CO2 limits, you would do exercise and you would be taking full lung breaths, but you would start to get weary and woozy because you can't get enough oxygen because it's been displaced by the amount of CO2 in the room. That's not the case with a mask. What will happen is you will inhale a slight amount more of CO2, but if you're doing something and you need more oxygen, you'll just take a deeper breath. So that's the difference. In a room exposed to some concentration limit of CO2, you can't take any deeper breath because you can take it if you're just sucking in room air. When you're wearing a mask, you will have a slight elevation in CO2 for the first part of the breath because of the trapped volume, but if you need more oxygen, you'll just take a deeper breath. And this is why all these tests always show over and over again, even the shitty ones where they use the wrong equipment to measure the CO2 concentration, if they actually measure the oxygenation of the blood, the SpO2, they show it doesn't change. And that's because, one, they did a shitty measurement, and two, the OSHA limit requirement is different because that's about a room in which you can't breathe any deeper, and et cetera. So no, there's no long-term effect of wearing a mask. It might make your diaphragm slightly stronger depending on how shitty of a mask you wear and how, like, if it's not very breathable. Let's see. Andrew says, I passed a fit test with the Aura mid-scruff. Yeah, Auras also have that same thing because they tuck under the chin with like a lot of material there. I think that helps a lot with beard. So Auras and V-Flexes are there. I think the V-Flex gets the addition of being ultra breathable, smaller pressure drop, so less bypass leakage across the beard. 1890 asks Flow Mask Pro ? I actually have a video about the Flow Mask. Just look at my recent videos on quarter mask elastomerics. Biased Lemmings asked, has Bluna been permanently shunned? Be Healthy hasn't started selling them again. Have they not been tested since the reported fabric change? No, they have been tested. I tested all the variations because they've changed it 3 times. They're still good. KF94 as a certification process works really well. I think Be Healthy just got annoyed with them changing them all the time and then having customers yell at them. So they're like, screw you, product. If you change them, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to carry them. So that's kind of what happened with Be Healthy. But yeah, they're fine. They're a KF94. So KF95s are good. But yeah, it's annoying when they change them because then like if they change shape or nose wire, it's like then it doesn't work for you maybe anymore. Do you know why my KN95 seems to block the fragrance of air freshener spray? Yes, air freshener spray can be blocked as a smell because when you spray it, the particles are not all volatile organic compounds. They're attached still to actually a solid particle that when it hits your nose, dissolves into your nose, and that's sometimes what you can smell. So depending on the sprays, sometimes you can have a mask block it, but it depends on what generated the smell. If it's organic vapor, a KN95 won't work. That would be like someone's bad breath or a fart or the smell of pizza. But if it's like some aerosolized sprays, like Bitrex, for example, or not Bitrex, but there's some aerosolized things that you can smell that would work. But so that's why. Even if we have a leaky seal with an N95, we should still have decent protection. Depends how much it leaks, but I would argue that I would take a slightly leaky N95 over a surgical mask any day of the week. Your protection with N95 is pretty much, in terms of COVID, pretty much entirely predicated by your leakage rate. So if the mask leaks 1%, then you get 99% protection. If it leaks 5%, then you get 95%. Because of COVID aerosols and how big they are and the sizing and moderate breathing rates, you really won't see. The filtration media of an N95 for COVID is like 99+%, 99.5. Like when you see me test something on my test that's like 99.8%, for COVID it's going to be like 99.8%. So like it's just leakage that's what's dominating your protection. Gabriela Granando says, "Thank you, Aaron. I noticed a time ago I noticed you a time ago since I'm a journalist. Do you know other models for skinny laders or some to clip the ear loops at the back of the head that not always work in rounded masks?" Do you know other models for skinny people? So there are a lot of. I know you're in Mexico, so this is hard, and I don't know the sourcing capabilities in Mexico. But in general, there are masks for smaller faces. So 3M makes, for example, I think the Aura fits pretty well for smaller faces. They also make the V-Flex in a small, a 9105S. They make the 8210 in a small, which is a cup style. If you go to Project N95, they actually have a pretty good selection now of most of them. And you can find some smaller masks there. Otherwise, in terms of ear loop masks, I really like the KF94s come in a variety of sizes from extra small to large, so you can definitely find ear loops in small. Breathe Tech, now they're US based, or Seivu offers in small. So there's a lot of masks out there. I'm just not sure what's exactly what's available in Mexico currently. The 9820 is getting discount. Oh, bummer. Yeah, I can understand. Most likely what you like about the 9820 is it might just be that's a bifold style, and so you can look at some other bifold masks that are out there. There's a lot of bifold N95s right now. Angela S. says, "Aaron Collins, thank you so much for doing these mask tests. All of this information is very valuable. Very much appreciate it." Oh, yeah, my pleasure. Grab your other now. Some N95s do not block. Yeah, most cigarette smoke is not going to get blocked by an N95. You'll still smell the cigarette, but you won't be breathing the particles from the cigarette, which is good. So, I mean, there's that bonus. But yeah, most smells, I would say most smells will pass right through an N95. You need a charcoal absorber to do that, and so charcoal filters do that, but not just particulate filtration. Although there are some smells that you can filter that are technically particulate, and that's because they're like water soluble particles that, when they go in your nose, I think cause some weird response. I'm not sure exactly all that. That's not my specialty. Okay, that's all the questions I see in the chat. Now you got your last. I'll give you like 1 minute. If you have a question, throw it in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to call it here today. I'm going to go measure these, do the pressure drop measurements, eat some dinner, watch some TV, go to bed, and then go to work at Open Airs. Oh yeah, someone asked me how things are Open Airs. Things are good at Open Airs. We are working on some IP stuff. It turns out if you run an open source hardware company, it's very different than an open source software company. The world of patent space is very different. And since we want to do the technology that we want to give free to everyone, we also want to make sure that anyone who makes it, because we don't really care about doing that, we just want to do the research and create the designs. Anyone who makes it, we want to make sure that they don't get sued by some other manufacturer, so we're going to protect the IP but give it away free to everybody. So it's a little harder to do open hardware companies. We're kind of figuring out how to do that, but things are going well. We'll get the IP out. Once the IP is published, we're filing a patent with the patent office. Once that publishes here shortly, then we'll open up and tell you exactly what all we're doing, and we'll have some stuff to share with you all on that. So Let's see. Donna says, careful out there, people. Just heard some folks who wear N95s religiously still getting infected now. Guess eye protection is getting really important now, too. Eye protection, I mean, from an aerosol standpoint, eye protection is really not required. The answer is like your eyes are exposed to very little aerosol. I think the concern with eye protection is droplets. Someone unmasked, standing above you, talking and spitting in your eye, that becomes a vector of transmission. So it's situations like that eye protection can play a role. I still think the vectors of eyes are quite small. In my experience, even with very smart people, they oftentimes forget about how they got it. I won't tell. There's a good story I have of someone who's very smart who was like, couldn't figure out what he got it, and then I was like, well, yeah. Anyways, I know how they got it, and then they're like, oh yeah, I guess I did do that. I forgot that, and like, it's like you never know. Like people take a lot of risky choices, but yes, fitted N95 is going to help, and COVID still goes on. It's a pain in the ass. Let's see. Can you do AGPL3 with hardware? I mean, not really. So this is the problem, is that the hardware space, so software is managed by copyright. Hardware is managed by patent law, and it turns out like that actually makes some big distinctions. So it's been hard with the patent stuff. It turns out to be much more harder than with software, because software is just copyright. So there's a lot of examples of how to do all this stuff with copyright. I mean, you could argue that there's still patent protection if we just publicly disclose it, because technically you can't patent something in which you publicly disclose it and there's prior art and all that stuff. But what's funny is that even though there's prior art, the post, like let's say I make a blog post or I create a website or I write an article, the patent office does not search prior art outside of the patent office. So someone could still actually patent my idea, or our idea, OpenAeros' idea, even though there's a paper that we've written out there, the patent office would still give them the patent. And then what would happen is I actually would have to go and then file to have the patent invalidated based on the prior art, or I would just ignore it and say that, no, if you sued me, I don't care about it because I know that there's prior art in existence, but I still get sued at some point along the way and have to pay a bunch of legal fees. So this is why it sucks. So it's sometimes cheaper just to pay for the stupid patent so that you can't sue me, because you can't sue me for violating my own patent. So yeah, it's stupid. So that's why I'm sick of patents. XBB apparently hitting ACE2 in the eyes. Well, ACE2 receptors I don't think there actually is ACE2 receptors in your eyes, but I think it's only your nasal thing, but I think it's easily, I guess I'm not sure. ACE2 binding is much higher with XBB122 based on the little bit of data that's come out. I don't know if you have ACE2 receptors in your eyes. Not sure. I'm not sure at all. Angela S. asks, question, does a person need to wear a mask if they're outdoors visiting with a couple of friends in the park for a couple hours? Okay, well, that's a very difficult question to answer about whether you need to wear a mask. So some of it is risk level. What you're describing is one of the lowest risk places to have a conversation is outdoors. Assuming you moderately distance and you're upwind, then for surely not wearing a mask. If you're downwind, well, then it becomes a question. In general, it's a risk question. If you want zero risk, then you would say wear a mask that's well fitted, etc., etc. I personally, outside, do not wear a mask. So long as it's not packed like a state fair or something like. But if I'm just meeting with like 4 people outside, I don't wear a mask. I think if you do the math, like the probability of infection is incredibly low. It's not zero, but it's so low that it's not something that I really worry about, and it's a good opportunity to eat and chat with people. So I do outdoor dining. I don't wear a mask outside if I can maintain like 3 to 6 feet away or 6 feet away from someone else. So we're hanging out, just sitting there. I don't worry about it too much, but that's my personal risk choice. Whether you need to is a dependence on, probability of risk. I think I did the math once, like the probability of like outdoor infection is depending on the conditions exactly, but it's like it's less than a fraction of a percent. So can it happen? Of course, a fraction of a percent. If you have 10,000 people, it'll happen to somebody. But in terms of your own probability, the risk is quite low. So it's a risk analysis. But outdoor is the safest place to meet. That's for sure. So if you're going to do stuff, do it outdoors, for sure. Have you caught COVID or any respiratory virus since you started masking? I have not caught COVID. Nobody in my household that we're aware of has caught COVID. Of course, we do test regularly, but there is a chance that someone was so, asymptomatic or well, that we didn't test them because they had no symptoms, but we do test periodically. No, none of us have had COVID. The only thing I've had was like a year ago. I went swimming in the summer with my son in a swimming pool, and then I had like a nasal kind of congestion, and that was a lot of testing that week. I think I just got a bunch of bacteria up my nose, and I just from that. So I wouldn't call that masking, but otherwise I've had no respiratory infections. My son did get a cough in the fall for like a few days, but like nothing major, so I'm not sure what happened there. Again, tested for COVID, nothing. So, but there are other diseases that spread. We got to remember that COVID is almost exclusively airborne, which is really beneficial. But there is data to show that flu and RSV, while they can spread via airborne, can also spread from contact. So it doesn't mean that masks stop all forms. So my son is not good about washing his hands at school or at home. We're working on that all the time. So you can get other diseases from that. So just a reminder that masks are super effective against COVID because there's no fomite transmission, but RSV and flu do show some data that you never know exactly. Maybe it is all airborne in the end for flu and RSV as well. It would not surprise me, but they have showed fomite transmission as well, so it's hard to say. So RSV and flu may still have fomite transmission mechanism. So, wearing a mask, you can still get the flu because you picked your nose after touching stuff. But I do wonder. After all of this, it'll be interesting to see what those ratios are for flu and RSV. I suspect that flu spreads a lot via airborne. Don Milton has hypothesized and has great data to show that most likely flu is airborne as well. But there is data out there that shows surface fomite stuff, so it's hard to say. Anyways, that's a long rant about that. Gabriel Grandes says, relating to the 9820 design, did you say pipe fold? Oh, yeah. No, sorry, Gabriel. Bifold, B-I-F-O-L-D. It's masks that look like this. They have the slit down the middle. For you specifically, Gabriel, I'll search it for you on my screen since I got it up here. One moment here. Let me go to this one. If I add a tab here, what I would try is the L188 from Harley. You can get it from Bonafide Mask. This might be a similar mask that you're liking, that kind of similar shape, is the Harley L188. It looks like this. I think that's kind of similar to what you're seeing with that 3M mask, so maybe you might want to check that one out. But this is a bifold mask because it folds in half, and it's the Harley. Let me check on OBS what you're seeing. Yeah, so that's like the Harley 188. Again, I'm just not sure what all you're seeing on the screen there, but yeah. So hopefully that answers your question. I would check that mask out. Let's see, Angela. Thank you for answering my question. I appreciate it. If I feel reassured about visiting outside since you answered my question. Yeah, no problem. I'm glad I can help. All right. Anyone else have any questions? Otherwise, I'm going to call it there. Gabrielle, no problem. I'm glad I could help. One child's been enough for me right now. Elliot's enough work, so no adopting any adults. But otherwise, I'm gonna call it there. I want to thanks everybody for hanging around for 4 hours while I test masks in my bathroom. As always, you do this as a project for transparency for the data, so everyone gets to see how the data gets collected. I'm not just making the numbers up. Remember, this is my test aerosol, my face, so it's a good measurement that these masks are all legitimate and perform well, but I can't stress enough that you need to make sure the mask fits your face to provide you protection. I hope you guys continue to do what you can to avoid contracting a disease like COVID. Advocate for mask wearing, and just make sure, if you can, the thing that always helps me the most is if you find a great mask, share it with other people, buy a few extras and give it to people. So if you're like, hey, I'm going to try some of those Breathe Techs, buy a few extras, give them to people around you, explain to them how masks work. I think pretty much this day, everyone kind of gets it, but I think the missing piece, everyone now understands. I don't see any cloth masks anymore, thankfully. I still see a lot of surgical masks. And I think making the case of like, if you're wearing a surgical mask, think about a KF94, right? It's an ear loop mask, but it's at least designed to seal the face. It's not as good as an N95, but it's better than the surgical. So helping people move along in the mask phase, going from from cloth to surgical, to KF94, N95, and then fit testing. So helping people move along that way is always what I would be appreciative. YouTube Punk, thanks for moderating this as always. I can't thank you enough. So thank you. You're a true mask nerd. Otherwise, look out for another video where I give my top mask picks, but I'll just tell you right now, if you made it this far to the end of this video, I'll tell you what they are. Here's my mask picks. If you're only going to buy one mask, buy the 3M Aura. It fits the widest variety of faces. It's a great price. It's readily available. If you want the most breathable mask out there, 3M 9105 V-Flex, available in the regular and the small. Want to try a couple out? DigiKey will sell you just a couple of them, and they'll ship it via USPS for a few dollars. For under $10, you can try about 5 to 6 of those masks, okay? If you're in an ear loop, I'm an ear loop guy. I've been fit tested. I have a Goldilocks face. I can get fit tested with an ear loop. My 2 mask recommendations are the Savewu Ultra 3D. That's the white one with the big chunky ear loops. Oh, the breathability. It's nice and cool inside. The breathability is like almost as good as the V-Flex. It's nice and cool inside. And the big chunky ear loops, they don't hurt your ears. I love that mask. I wish it had a better nose wire. But otherwise, the Breathe Tech is going to be my second favorite ear loop mask. And again, the thing I like about the Savewu and the Breathe Tech, they both come in extra small, medium, large. They're covering the range. So you can get a whole different bunch of sizes. Breathe Tech's the same way. Best nose wire in the game right now, outside of N95s for an ear loop mask. Breathe Tech has the best nose wire out there. So best budget mask pick. I got to look at pricing. V-Flex was in that bucket because they're like for a while 50 cents. The Jackson Safety and Kimberly Clark. Jackson Safety makes basically an OEM of the Kimberly Clark or a white label. For a while, you can get them for 19 cents a mask. I bought a bag of 50 masks for $20 or something like that. Shipped, it was incredibly cheap. Unfortunately, they're not 19 cents anymore, but like Kimberly Clark and those were great. Those are great if you're just going to the gym or something. You want to toss it at the end of it. Let's see what else out there. Best budget picks. So that's going to be the Jackson Safety when they're on sale. Powcom because they're always super cheap for ear loop. And then for a while, was getting in the 70-cent range on a pretty dang good mask with a good nose wire too. I think that's a good value pick at 70 cents a mask. Hard to get that. The Breathe Techs are $1.50, so it's basically half the price. Let's see what else is out there. Top N95s. So I'm going to go 9105 V-Flex, Aura, Champac. That Champac bifold is really, really super breathable. I like that a lot. What else is out there? Cup mask is going to be the Moldex Airwaves with the soft foam. So that would be the what we just tested today, 4620. That's a great mask. The Shaman cup mask is also a good mask. If you're like, hey, I want to go cup mask, that's like a great alternative to the 8210. I think it's better than the 8210. In the cup space, what else we got out there? In the bifold space, it's the Champac. In the duckbill space, it's V-Flex, followed by, all the rest, Gerson ACI, duckbills. What else? I'm trying to think. I'm trying to do it off the top of my head. Oh yeah, best printed masks. If you like printing, it's going to be, because they have such great designs and so many options, Mask Lab's the #1 printed mask, followed second by Posh, because the Mask Lab is also very breathable, but the Posh is going to be second. And then Savewu is in a third, only because they just don't have that many designs. They have printed masks. I can buy a Woody mask, but I kind of feel like most adults don't want that. Let's see what else. So that's the. If you made it to this long in the video, you got a treat at the end because you're a real mask nerd. So that's what that video is going to show, and I'll have all the data and a little bit more discussion about that. I'm trying to think what else. Those will be the categories. So the category is going to be like my top picks, my top ear loop, my top N95 bifold and all the different styles, cup bifold and that, and then we'll do top printed masks, and that'll be about it. So make some TikToks. I've been playing around with the TikTok space. I don't know if I like TikTok for a lot of reasons. I get why people like it, but I don't know. I'm not good at making short content. Let's just say that. I like the detail. The nuance is important with masks, but I'll think about it. Let's see what else we got out there. Okay, so if you made it to the video, there's the deets. You'll see that next week. I'll make that video next week with samples of all that. Yeah. Otherwise, I hope everyone has a great Sunday evening or night or morning. I don't know where you're at in the world, but I'm gonna go do some breathability measurements. So I hope you all have a wonderful one. Thanks for hanging around, and we'll catch you on the next video. All right. Thanks, everybody.